Friday, July 25th. Good morning. Thank you for joining us at CTV Morning Live. Our Joseph Bernacki headed up the road to Gimley, and everybody knows about Gimley's Icelandic festival, but did you know that they have a museum with a pretty big milestone? Within that museum, they have a 125th new Icelandic exhibition. So we're going to check that out and touch base with him later on this morning. First, here's a look at your headlines. Heartbreak in Leaf Rapids. Flames have crossed the Churchill River and now threaten what's left of an empty, evacuated community. After days underground, 3 miners in northern BC are finally safe. How drones and a remote-controlled scoop helped bring them home. Bubbles bought and a whole lot of joy. How a playful little robot is lifting spirits in a big way. Terry, you're in a great mood this morning.
It's Friday, Ainsley.
Oh, that's
I'm always
strong
in a
correlation.
Good mood. Yeah.
Outside, will we be feeling just as perky?
Okay, probably not. We're going to be wilting outside, honestly, if I had to tell you the truth about it. And that's because the heat is coming back in a very big way. 17 degrees is where we kick things off this morning with south winds 11 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 95%. We will be seeing some sunshine, though, and yes, the heat from it. There is still a little bit of smoke, especially through northern Manitoba. That's where the smoke warnings remain in place. You can see it's maybe a little bit hazy here in the south, but nothing like those areas throughout northern Manitoba or the advisory that's just off to the east there. Pretty clear starting out. We've got some sunshine to kick us off. We may see some scattered showers or some possible thunderstorms. That'll be for a little bit later on into the day, especially once that heat really ramps up. We know heat and humidity means it could be a combination to set us up for all of that storm activity. So not just here in the south parts of northern Manitoba, also we'll be in for a little bit of a soaking today. Central Manitoba more so into the evening overnight, and we still overnight could see more of that activity. Saturday looking to be on the sunnier side. But again, a whole lot of heat and the humidity combined, and the potential for those storms is there. Sunday may be starting to see a little extra cloud and still some light and scattered precipitation. And then we're getting the sun, drier conditions as we look toward next week.
Thank you, Terry. Breaking news this morning, 3 miners have been rescued after being trapped underground for days at a remote mine in northern BC. All 3 were rescued last night at Red Chris Mine. Officials said that they're safe, in good health and in good spirits. They've been identified as Darian Maduk from BC, Kevin Coombs from Ontario, and Jesse Chibati from Manitoba, all contractors from High Tech Drilling. The miners were underground since Tuesday morning when they were trapped by 2 rock falls. The men had consistent access to food, water, and air in a refuge chamber. A remote-controlled scoop was used to dig away at the debris, estimated to be 7 to 8 meters high. Drones flew over the debris blockage and found a stable route to where the men were. Red Chris Mine is operated by Newmont and is an open-pit gold and copper mine. Fire crews are battling a blaze that has now entered Leaf Rapids. The wildfire jumped the Churchill River on Wednesday and is now in the evacuated community 300. The heat and smoke were so bad that firefighters had to back away temporarily. CTV's Jeff Keel reports.
Firefighters are trying to save Leaf Rapids from a wildfire that has now spread to the community, as evacuees in Winnipeg desperately try to get up-to-date information on their town.
I was just having really bad anxiety, and my heart was just really scared because all of our family's house is there.
On Wednesday, the fire jumped the Churchill River, damaging 5 to 7 structures. 1 was a residence, the rest were abandoned. Some vehicles and hydro poles also burned. The power is still on. It happened so fast, firefighters had to retreat for an hour because of the scorching conditions before going back to continue the fight.
The fire's behavior yesterday was very, very intense. Crews talked about how the fire was essentially creating its own weather, and there was all this additional wind and heat.
They fought the fire through the night and are still there as we speak.
But there was confusion. The town initially posted the firefighters had left for good. That was corrected by the province Thursday morning.
To me, the province is what I feel like has done nothing but abandon us.
The miscommunication is frustrating for evacuees who've been staying in Winnipeg hotel rooms for a couple of weeks. Some rallied at Garbage Hill, calling for more supports and better communication.
Well, it's hard, you know, especially worrying about everything at home. Not knowing if we're going to have anything to come back home to, and just how different the town looks already.
Leaf Rapids has been without a mayor and council for 6 years. The town's admin is appointed by the province. who is promising some information sessions.
I can't explain the discrepancy. I just, as I said, we're going to work together with the town to make sure that the information is timely.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Provincial officials say that given the wind direction, they do expect another challenging day for crews at Leaf Rapids, but they do see rain in the forecast starting today. The hope is that if the rain falls, that would stabilize the situation. Any information session for Leaf Rapids residents, it was held on Thursday evening with representatives from the town, Red Cross and Emergency Social Services. There are still 120 active fires burning in Manitoba. One is threatening Snow Lake. Hud Bay announced it evacuated its mine near the town as a precaution. The Wildfire Service says that Snow Lake crews are ready for if it gets closer. And on the bright side, the situation has improved for communities of Garden Hill and Thompson. Rain has helped the firefighting efforts there. And officials say things have improved at Split Lake and Opaskwayak Cree Nation to the point where evacuees could soon be allowed to go home.
They were definitely planning for something to happen in the community. They had a good plan, but unfortunately the fire's behavior yesterday was very, very intense. Crews talked about how the fire was essentially creating its own weather, and there was all this additional wind and heat, and the movement of the fire was just really, really rapid.
We're learning more about the 2025 Grey Cup Festival in Winnipeg this fall. Organizers announced that the RBC Convention Center will serve as the official headquarters for the festivities between November 13th to 15th. There you can take in parties and entertainment. Each night brings a whole new theme and headlining act. And also it announced that Princess Auto Stadium is a culinary event, Taste of the CFL. It brings together top chefs from each CFL city for a showdown in game day cuisine. You can sample dishes and drinks and vote for Canada's best stadium food. The Convention Center will also be a home to the Grey Cup Gala.
Social passes go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. As I said, 50% are already sold, those 3-day passes, which is truly remarkable. 90% of the Grey Cup tickets are currently sold for the game on Sunday.
Festival right here in Winnipeg.
For information and tickets, visit greycupfestival.ca. Comedian John Mulaney is giving a glimpse into what music he was listening to during a recent stop in Winnipeg. Mulaney was in Winnipeg on Saturday as part of the Great Outdoors Comedy Fest over the weekend. Mulaney created a Spotify playlist titled In a Hotel in Winnipeg, which includes the description, "I put this together while I was in a hotel in Winnipeg." The post appeared on his Facebook page. The playlist includes 12 songs, including Madinka by Sinead O'Connor, Tour by the Courtneys, and The Boy by Smashing Pumpkins. You can find a link to his playlist on our website. Here's a bubbly new approach to senior care.
She's become our best friend.
Meet Abby, the bubble-blowing robot who helps residents at an Australian care home blown away by loneliness. Taking a look at the current traffic situation around Main and Broadway. It looks like a smooth drive. If you have any traffic tips or updates to share, send them to us. CTV Morning, WPG on X. Joseph Bernanke joins us from Gimley, Manitoba. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Ainsley, and good morning, Manitoba. Happy Friday. We made it to the end of the week, and we got a really exciting show for our viewers this morning. We've made it to Gimley, as Ainsley mentioned at the top of the show. We're at the new Icelandic Heritage Museum, of course, a staple in the community here at Gimley, where we're celebrating a pretty cool anniversary. It's going to be this year, of course, is the 150th anniversary of the first settlers from Iceland coming to this part of Manitoba, what was referred to New Iceland, of course. Throughout the show today, we're going to be previewing a really neat 150th anniversary exhibit celebrating so many years of history. They're going to be having, of course, the celebration not this weekend but next weekend for Icelandic. So there's going to be many people coming here, including people from Iceland, reconnecting with family. It'll be really neat. We're going to showcase what it looked like 50 years ago for the 100th celebration, connections with Eaton's department store, clothing, and so much more from here inside the museum. So stay tuned for a jam-packed show, and we're going to be speaking with the executive director coming up in about half an hour's time. So stay tuned on CTV Morning Live.
Thank you, Joseph. Can't wait. Terry joining us from the roof. Sometimes making new friends can be scary, especially if they're bigger than you.
Not like the cows. Oh my God.
Bambi the golden is a little terrified of these big cows. Holding on for dear life.
It took me a second because the camera worked.
Yeah.
I thought, is it making friends with the human? But no, it's the spook of the cows. Well, they can be a little bit intimidating, especially on a first-time sighting. Aw.
So cute, oh, how cute. A little gloomy this morning, and it looks like the wind is picking up, too.
Do you know what? I think there's just the slightest bit of a breeze. I wouldn't call it gloomy, but there is a little bit of that haze. Now that the sun is up, I think that's probably what you're noticing, is the sun rising a minute or two later each day. So it's a little bit darker in these early morning hours than, say, it was earlier this summer when we had those really long days and the sun was rising just after 5. Now it's rising a whole lot closer to 6 o'clock, so it's only been up for a little while yet, and it hasn't even reached above the buildings in the downtown area, so I can't see that sunshine yet. I'm still standing in shadow, if you will. 16 degrees, south winds, 12 clicks, the pressure falling and the humidity sitting at 98%. But the conditions right now, aside from the slight haze, are fairly clear. We will be seeing plenty of that sunshine, certainly through the morning hours. A little bit later on into the afternoon, we'll see some clouds building up, and with it, likely some showers, maybe some thunderstorms. But the heat, we're going to be feeling that too. Starting already slightly above seasonal, when 13 is a normal low temperature. We're going to be rising up into those high 20s today and could hit 30 degrees for tomorrow. So we do have a couple of hot days ahead, but it comes along with that possible precipitation, and not just here in the south. Parts of northern Manitoba, a chance of showers and thunderstorms as well. That heat, like I said, will last into Saturday. Still on Sunday, a little bit on the warmer side next week. Kind of getting back to seasonal with those mid-20 temps throughout. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same-day oil and tire changes.
Good morning. It's 6:15. Winnipeg police are promising to crack down on crime in Osborne Village. Police say that assaults in the village are up by 44% this year.
I got assaulted 20 times. I don't have the exact number, just by myself. I'm not including my employees. And it's not like I'm not making money into something. Like, it's good, business is good, but the problem is the crime. And I already think, like a couple months ago, if this thing will be continued, I will close my doors.
The owner of the pizza place on River in Osborne says that some people are so bold that they return to his restaurant after being arrested to taunt him. The police service says that it's redoubling its presence in the village, and you can expect to see more uniformed and plainclothes officers. They'll also be dropping into local businesses.
We have dedicated community support unit officers that work right out of West District, and when other units and officers are available, we will be supplementing those officers, and that's going to fluctuate from day to day. For example, we have 30 plus officers in here today. Tomorrow it might be 20 officers. The next day it might be 40 officers. It's really dependent on what else is going on throughout the city.
The program is scheduled to run until November, at which time police say that they'll reassess. Police say reported incidents of violent crime in Osborne Village peaked in 2023, but since then has come down slightly. Today's announcement came just hours before a community forum was scheduled to take place about safety in Osborne Village. Media wasn't invited inside, but CTV News heard from a number of people on their way in about how safe they feel.
I'm more optimistic. I've really never personally had a problem in this area, and I've always felt safe, but it's more so I am seeing the rise in it, and so I want it to I want to keep feeling safe in my community rather than worry about walking home at night.
To be fair, I think they've done a lot about cleaning up this corner here, with the police walking around and stuff like that. That's improved for sure. The closing of the Starbucks, and that's helped a bit too, but you can't close all the stores kind of deal, right? On the other hand, you walk into Shoppers and there's guards all over the place.
Police remind Osborne Village residents and business owners to remain vigilant, share tips, and support efforts to stop violence. Now that 5 former World Junior hockey players have been found not guilty of sexual abuse, the focus turns to what happens next. Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Alex Formanton left the courthouse in London after being acquitted of sexual assault. McLeod was also found not guilty on the charge of being a party to the offense. Despite the verdicts, the NHL last night says that all 5 players remain eligible to play as the league reviews the findings. The Crown is also reviewing the decision before deciding on an appeal. The NHL Players Union is pushing back, saying that the players should be allowed to resume their careers. Meantime, a large group turned out to support the complainant, many of who worried the verdict will set back efforts to have victims of sexual abuse come forward to police. Here's CTV's John Van Valley-Rao.
Representatives from more than a dozen sex assault centers made their presence known in London, there to support the complainant, and disappointed by the judge's decision.
It makes me sick. You know, it's gutting. It's absolutely gutting.
Those who work with abused women say the trial, regardless of outcome, showed problems in how sexual assault complaints are handled, pointing to the 9 days of questioning and cross-examination EM was subjected to.
She was put on the stand and put through the ringer, and it was excruciating to watch and listen.
This is probably why I have this sign, because that is one courageous woman, one strong woman, to do what she did for us.
And they worry the high-profile nature of the case and not guilty verdicts could make the victims of sexual crimes more reluctant to come forward. A report last year found just 6% of sexual assaults are reported to police, and 1 in 19 of those led to a sentence involving custody.
The sad part about it is some of it is not surprising just because of the system and how it's continued to let down victims and survivors who come forward.
And the case ignited fresh conversations about sex and the culture surrounding sport in Canada.
If I had a son who was in the room that night, I would be very upset. Regardless of whether you think a crime was committed or not, I think we can all agree it was a bad situation. And for the men that were involved in that hotel room, I think at least one of them should have had the wherewithal to speak up and say, guys, this isn't right.
Some say the verdict doesn't erase concerns about hockey culture and the power dynamics that can exist, and being legal isn't synonymous with moral approval. John Van Valley-Rao, CTV News, London, Ontario.
Saying peace is possible, France has announced it will recognize a Palestinian state. Emmanuel Macron says that he will formalize the decision at the United Nations General Assembly in September. The French president adds he hopes it will help bring peace to the region. France is the first major Western power to recognize a Palestinian state. It joins more than 140 other countries, including more than a dozen in Europe. Here's an opportunity for young people to sharpen their skills on the gridiron. The Minnesota Vikings are bringing their free Vikings Youth Flag Football Clinic to Winnipeg next month. It's open to anyone aged 6 to 14 who wants to learn flag football skills from the pros, build confidence, make friends. There are 4 sessions spread out across August 6th and 7th at the Ralph Cantafio Soccer Complex on Waverly Street. Taking a look at the current traffic situation, Portage and Polo Park. Things are picking up at 6:20. Nothing major to report.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
All right, looking now through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Still a little bit hazy out there. You can certainly notice that, especially glancing out through our cameras. I'm not noticing that heavy smoke smell, but the haze certainly does linger. And outside, I can visually see that haze, just not without that campy fire smell. But our temperatures a little bit above seasonal, and we're in for a hot one today, and that'll go pretty much across the province as well. So 13 degrees would be a normal low temperature, and that's where Brandon is sitting. Everybody else, oh, Gimley as well, and Dauphin. Nearly everybody else is a few above that. We're at 16 right now. That's just down from 17 degrees where we were last hour, but it's always coolest just before that sun starts to rise or begins to warm us up. And the sun, like I said, wasn't even coming up till just after or just before 6 o'clock now. For northern Manitoba, you can see it's warmer here along the western border, then off to the east where you're just into the double digits or even Gillam single digits for you to kick things off. That smoke is still an issue through much of northern Manitoba with that heavy smoke warning in place. Through central and southern Manitoba, sky a little bit clearer, and the most northern stretch clearer air quality as well. But like I said, it is still a little bit hazy out there. Fairly clear though, and we'll be enjoying that sunshine today, at least through the morning hours. Later on, we're going to see the clouds building up, and with where these temperatures are headed today, look at this, high teens, or pardon me, high 20s, and this is our noontime temps, low teens I'm struggling today. High teens or high 20s. That's what I'm trying to say. That's just by midday, and then climbing up into those low 30s or high 20s through the afternoon, with the potential for some showers or thunderstorms through the day, overnight, tomorrow as well. Sunday, still a chance of those showers, drier conditions as we're looking ahead to next week. The fog made for a pretty cool picture out in the Thompson area. Thanks to Nikki for this. Keep them coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca, and we'll be back right after this break.
Winnipeg's favorite cultural celebration is back, and we want you to go. Folklorama returns from August 3rd to 16th, and we're giving you the chance to win a pair of 2 tour visas, giving you access to explore all 44 pavilions. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and enter the clue word world. Good luck. He was a large and loud guy. He made a career of being the beefiest and boldest wrestler in the WWE. Terry Jean Bollea, best known as Hulk Hogan, died on Thursday of a cardiac arrest at the age of 71. He leaves legions of fans who adored him for decades and followed him from the wrestling ring to the political arena, despite the controversies. Here's CTV's Jean-Vian Boschman.
Hulk Hogan's legacy is tied to wrestling, of course, but ever the performer. He also took his trademark horseshoe mustache and bandanas to the music world and to TV and movie screens.
The ultimate male versus the ultimate meatball.
Including in Rocky III, that propelled him to stardom. Hogan was born Terry Jean Bollea in Georgia. He began wrestling at age 16, vowing to match the inhuman physique of his heroes. And he did, even eventually earning his stage name. As fellow wrestlers commented, he was bigger than Lou Ferrigno, who played Hulk on TV.
Look at this!
He then slammed his way to the very top of worldwide wrestling stardom, at his peak defeating Andre the Giant with a body slam. That earned him fans around the globe.
He got people here, where it counted, in their hearts.
In 1997, Jacques Rougeau became the only Canadian to defeat Hogan in the ring in Montreal.
He signed it in my name. He says, "You're the only one who beat me in Canada." He says, "You deserve this belt."
Rivals in the ring, Hogan and Rougeau built a friendship in the real world.
The greatest of all times, Hulk Hogan. And I love you, Hulk. We're going to miss you.
Hogan was admired by many, but faced several controversies. In 1994, he was forced to admit in court to years of steroid use and later to apologize for a racist rant caught on video.
Yo, yo. Go, Skipper.
He also won a lawsuit against a website that leaked a sex tape of Hogan and a married woman. In later years, he became a vocal supporter of U.S. President Donald Trump.
Make America great again!
Endorsing him at the Republican National Convention. Hulk Hogan, a wrestling ring and pop culture superstar through it all. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
It's 16 degrees outside right now. Pretty sunny, although it's a little bit hazy too. South winds, they're 12 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 98%. South winds are expected through the day, so hopefully we'll see some of this haze moving on out. We are not under any air quality statements or advisories or anything of the like, but we do still have that heavy smoke warning through much of northern Manitoba, and then the slightly downgraded statement or advisory just off to the east that you can see. But you just need to look outside, and you can see that it is a little bit hazy. The sun will be up, though. We'll enjoy, well, it is up already. It's just taking its time. It only started to rise just before we started the show here this morning, but we'll see plenty of that sunshine through the morning hours. And then later on into the afternoon, we're probably going to start to see some clouds building up a little bit. With those clouds comes the possibility of some showers or some thunderstorms. It will be a hot one, though, a high of 29 degrees, and the winds remaining out of the south throughout the day today and overnight as that chance of showers and thunderstorms continues. Now, from 29 today, 20 is our low temperature overnight. You compare that that to a seasonal low of 13 degrees, and we're remaining well above that with another hot day on tap tomorrow, up to 30 degrees, with again that possibility of showers or thunderstorms. Still winds out of the south or southwest for tomorrow, and Sunday still another chance of precipitation. Again, we will welcome it. I don't think there's so much thing as too much rain at this point. It is going to be drying out again with mid-20 temps throughout most of next week.
Thank you, Terry. The provincial NDP is tapping the former assistant to cabinet minister Glenn Simard as their candidate for the upcoming Spruce Woods by-election. It comes after the previous PC MLA stepped down to run the 2025 federal election. Ray Bertholet, a real estate agent and former corrections officer, is hoping to turn the formerly blue seat orange. The PCs and Liberals have already named their candidates. A by-election date has not yet been set, but must be held by September 16th. A true Manitoba hero. That's how a Brandon school resource officer is being described after his quick action stopped a horrifying attack. Last month, a student was brutally injured in what police describe as a racially motivated attack with a sword. Constable Mo Shilinoff was one of the first police officers on the scene, and as CTV's Danton Unger reports, his actions were honored on Thursday.
An act of bravery that saved lives. On Thursday at Brandon City Hall, Premier Wab Kinew presented Constable Moshe Linoff and Brandon Police first responders with the Order of the Buffalo Hunt.
Out of a terrible tragedy comes an opportunity to highlight and salute some of the heroes who walk among us, including Moshe Linoff, Constable, who is here with us and is a true Manitoba hero.
Constable Linoff is the resource officer at Neelan High School, and he was there on June 10th during a horrific attack. Grade 10 student Chinonso Onuke was brutally injured after being stabbed and slashed multiple times with a large sword in what police describe as a racially motivated attack. Constable Linoff responded within minutes.
You didn't flinch, you didn't hesitate. You acted quickly, calmly, and with deep care. It's because of you that lives were protected and further tragedy was prevented.
Nuke is still healing from the attack that's left him with scars. Recovery is slow, but he's making progress.
I'm able to move all my fingers now.
Progress, he says, might not have been possible without the actions of Constable Linoff, who not only saved his life, but likely the lives of his classmates as well.
It's like things happen, and they were able to apprehend the guy before it could get to anyone else. So that was really good.
With Linoff's name officially added to the Order of the Buffalo Hunt, he joins the likes of Queen Elizabeth II, Mother Teresa, Burton Cummings, and most recently, the first responders at the Carberry bus crash tragedy. But for Linoff, he says he doesn't think of himself as a hero.
They say I'm a hero, but I think I just did my job. It's what I was trained, it's what I was hired for, it's what my job.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Brandon.
An RCMP officer was shot and injured in Saskatchewan yesterday morning, triggering a public safety alert in the early morning.
We do take that incredibly seriously, but we have to balance the safety of the public with that intrusion.
The officer was responding to a report of an armed suspect at a home in Muscoequin, First Nation, about 150 kilometers northeast of Regina. After the officer was shot, the suspect fled the scene and the safety alert was sent out. He was arrested later on in the morning. Charges have not been laid yet. The officer was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. A couple and their dog have been found dead in a home in Maple Ridge, BC.
Looked out the window and that flames were just going up the side of the house, up into the roof. The car was on fire.
Police were first called to the home for reports of a neighborhood dispute, but made no arrests. Hours later, Mounties arrived on scene to find 2 cars in the garage on fire. Inside the home, they found 2 people dead. The suspect, believed to be armed with a weapon inside a neighboring home, died from a self-inflicted injury. Police say that this was a targeted incident with no ongoing threat to the public. BC Police Watchdog is now investigating. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are looking for a win this weekend after a couple of tough losses to the Calgary Stampeders. The Bombers are on their way to Toronto to face the Argonauts on Saturday. The last time the Bombers played the Argos was the 2024 Grey Cup, where Toronto took the 41-24 victory. This season, the Bombers are in the middle of the pack of the CFL's West Division with 3 wins and 2 losses.
No, I leave them alone, basically.
I think that's the standard fare for most kickers, right? If you're with a kicker for a long time and they tell you exactly what they need, then that's sort of the script you follow.
The Bombers and Argos will go at it on Saturday at BMO Field. Kickoff is at 6 o'clock. Taking a look at the current traffic situation outside of your normal construction barricades, there are no stalls or crashes to report. Taking a look at your gas prices, the Canadian average stands at $1.35. The provincial average is lower at $1.30. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.29. The lowest price in the city is $1.19. All this info at gasbuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
The new Iceland Heritage Museum has a pretty cool exhibition. Joseph Bernacki joins me now to explain.
Thanks, Ainsley. Good morning, Winnipeg. At this time, I'm very pleased to be joined by Juliana Roberts. She is the executive director of the new Iceland Heritage Museum. Don't worry, I said it right this time. It's a pleasure to have you on our show this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is such a super cool museum, Juliana. People just getting a chance to walk around. If they've never been here before, what can they expect to see at the museum?
The museum tells a story of the settlement of New Iceland. So it tells a story of why they left Iceland, how they got here, and then what happened once they got here. So we tell the complete settlement of New Iceland.
And it's pretty cool to think about Manitoba. You know, we have the largest Icelandic population outside of Iceland. Of course, there's so many different farm communities and settlements here along Lake Winnipeg and the surrounding area. Talk to us a little bit about the story of why people came here so many years ago.
Right. So the Icelanders arrived here on October 21st, 1875. So this is the 150th anniversary of New Iceland. The Icelanders left Iceland because there was a large volcanic eruption which covered the whole island in ash. There was a plague that hit the sheep. They were still under Danish rule, so it was a feudal system, so they didn't own the land. So they really were starving. Canada was settling the West, and so Sigtryggur Jónsson, who is known as the father of New Iceland, facilitated them coming here to this strip of land along the west shore of Lake Winnipeg, which is called New Iceland.
When you look around what Scott is showing us, what interests you the most? I mean, everything from, you know, you were just telling us about the trunks that people brought. They could only bring one, is that right?
That's right. They had can you imagine leaving your home and only being allowed to bring one trunk of items? The story always goes too is that they only were able to bring one trunk, but there was always books included in the trunk. So Icelanders are known for their 99% literacy rate. So the books were always included in their trunks. The interests me the most is that growing up here in New Iceland, like our relatives would go, like my mom would go back to Iceland to see where her relatives came from. But when I started working here, I didn't realize how reciprocal it was. So the Icelanders come from Iceland to find out where their relatives went. So I think it's fascinating that, they're curious about where their relatives went to.
And there's going to be people from Iceland coming here, not this weekend, but next weekend, of course, for Icelandic Festival.
You bet. There's a couple of big tour groups coming, and there's Icelandic Festival this is their 135th anniversary. So, 50,000 of my closest friends will be here next weekend.
Wonderful. Well, Juliana's going to be joining us a little bit later on in the show. We can't wait to show you the new exhibit that they have on display running until next year here from the new Iceland Heritage Museum. We'll be back in the 7 o'clock hour.
That's awesome. Thank you, Joseph. Terry, on the roof, proof again that Manitoba summers are just too short.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. I think a lot of people feel the exact same way. Can you believe we're running out the end of July now? And it's already at that point where the sun coming up a little bit later each day. I've been talking about that all morning long. And now I was coming out here hoping to see the sun, thinking it would finally have risen above some of the buildings of downtown. But it's also moved just a little bit south enough that it's directly behind 360 Main. So I'm still standing in kind of shadow out here. It's looking a little bit brighter, don't get me wrong about that. Very few clouds. It's going to be a mainly sunny start to your day. 16 degrees, it's a warm start to your day as well, with 13 being a normal low temperature. We're slightly above that. There's a bit of a breeze. It's on the lighter side out of the south, so good news there. That'll help with some of the air quality, and it's only 12 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling, humidity sitting at 90%. 28%. So yes, that sun will be making an appearance for us today and really bringing the heat along with it. Plenty of sunshine through the morning hours, but then later on into the day, we'll start to see those clouds building up, and there is the possibility of showers or maybe even some thunderstorms. It's not just here in southern Manitoba. Much of northern Manitoba will also see some of that activity, maybe even a little bit earlier in the day across northern Manitoba, and then even central Manitoba gets on that bandwagon as well. And throughout the weekend, the possibility of showers or thunderstorms. We'll be feeling the heat today and tomorrow, maybe slightly cooler by Sunday. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more on CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather is brought to you by Destination Dinner Stage, Manitoba's only musical dinner theater.
Looking at the early markets, futures are pointing to a modest uptick across the board this morning. Dow futures are up 48 points. NASDAQ futures are ticking up with a 3-point gain. S&P futures are also in the green, up 6 points. The Canadian dollar is seeing a slight increase this morning. Overseas markets are down. Hong Kong's Hang Seng has dropped by 278 points, and Japan's Nikkei is also in the red, down 370 points. Good morning. It's 6:45. Farmers will have a chance to safely dispose of any expired or unwanted pesticides and medications this fall. A company called Clean Farms will be touring the country later this year. They accept unwanted agricultural pesticides, pest control products, and livestock and equine medications. There will be nearly 24 drop-off locations spread across southern Manitoba between October 27th and 31st. You can head to cleanfarms.ca for a full list of locations. There is no charge for this service. It'll be very hot in Winnipeg today and Saturday. The city of Winnipeg is reminding you where you can cool off. City-run pools and outdoor spray pads are open. Cooling spaces are being set up at community centers, and people are invited to cool down at city leisure centers and libraries. The city's also reminding people 9 hydration stations are set up around the city, including in North End Osborne Village and Central Park. Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc is in Washington meeting up with top Trump trade officials as time is running out to make a deal before next week's deadline. Here's CTV's Abigail Beeman.
After a series of D.C. meetings, including with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, Dominic LeBlanc says he'll be back next week, still working towards August 1st.
But all of these deadlines are with the understanding that we'll take the time necessary to get the best deal.
This Republican senator is less optimistic about the timing.
I wish that I could say it feels good that this is all going to be taken care of before the 1st of August, but I'm not sensing that.
Still, Canada stresses there's movement. Our ambassador pointing to the Prime Minister's announcement targeting cheap foreign steel.
That has been recognized and very much appreciated. So we're making some positive progress.
They say they're hurt and they were insulted, and it's kind of like, well, it's not a whole lot of people or countries that we've asked to become the 51st state that I can remember.
Meanwhile, we're hearing more from American Ambassador Pete Hoekstra. CTV News obtained the full video from the summit where he said this.
Well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with.
The chat's moderator wasn't surprised that drew headlines.
As we've seen before, sometimes when the ambassador is reflecting a president whose comments have not been well received in Canada, they become kind of the lightning rod.
Hoekstra also weighed in on the trade deal deadline.
Whether it's August 1, I don't see it extending a lot past that. I'd be surprised if we were still talking about it on September 1.
Ambassador Hoekstra also said he's optimistic about the future, but there need to be more advocates for the Canada-U.S. relationship. From his position, 90 days into the job, he says there aren't any.
The conversation over the law to fast-track development of infrastructure projects was front and center when Prime Minister Mark Carney with Indigenous leaders on Thursday in Northwest Territories.
I want to be clear up front that the Act fully respects treaty rights, including modern treaties.
Mark Carney delivered strong assurances to the Inuit Crown Partnership Committee around the One Canadian Economy Act. Carney also reiterating that the government will be creating a major projects office and Indigenous Advisory Council to consult on plans. Prime Minister Mark Carney has called Israel's denial of humanitarian aid in Gaza, quote, a violation of humanitarian law. Carney shared this statement on social media, and he said, quote, Canada condemns the Israeli government's failure to prevent the rapidly deteriorating humanitarian disaster in Gaza. Carney is calling on all sides to negotiate an immediate ceasefire in the Post. He also reiterated that calls for Hamas to immediately release all hostages. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand echoed the same words as the Prime Minister. She will be heading to the two-state conference at the United Nations in New York next week. Earlier this week, the UN Human Rights Office reported that since May, more than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces while trying to get food. There's a new and improved way to cool off in St. Vital. Councillor Marcus Chambers taking the inaugural dip into the newly renovated water play park at Dakota Community Center. Improvements include new features to spray and dump water, new pump and accessible refurbished flat surface.
What this is all about is an investment. Yes, it's an investment in infrastructure, a water park, spray pad features, but it's really about investing in people. It's about providing the services that families need in our community.
The Dakota Water Play Park is open 7 days a week from 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. All the city's wading pools, outdoor pools, and splash pads are open for the season. You can head to winnipeg.ca/pools for locations and hours. Taking a look at the current traffic situation at Kenaston and Sterling Lyon. For traffic tips, send them to us. CTV Morning WPG.
16 degrees, and it's starting to look a little bit brighter outside. 12K winds out of the south will stay on the lighter side, moderate, I should say, but out of the south, so that's good news for us. The pressure is falling, the humidity sitting at 98%. Yeah, 16 degrees to kick off your morning, few degrees above seasonal. 13 would be a normal low, so we're already slightly on top of that. And then as we make those gains today, you're going to be feeling the heat. Still noticing the heaviest smoke up in the far northern part of the province, or north central part of the province, I should say. The far north is actually on the clearer side, as is central and southern Manitoba, according to Environment Canada, when it comes to issuing those smoke advisories and warnings. There you can see it's on the clearer side. The few extra clouds up north will likely bring some precipitation across much of northern Manitoba. In fact, nearly everybody today has a chance of some showers, maybe some thunderstorms, and high teens, low 20s, or for some, those mid 20s. So yes, the temperatures will certainly be on the rise throughout the day today, and mid to high 20s expected over in northwestern Manitoba. Once we're starting to look into southern Manitoba, could be hitting those 30-degree temperatures. So the southwest might be one of the warmer places today in those low 30s, more likely just hitting up into the high 20s here through much of the southeast. But the possibility of showers or thunderstorms is certainly there for later on today, but then still overnight and even tomorrow. That chance of showers or thunderstorms continues. And then northwestern Ontario probably looking a little drier and brighter today, but overnight some storms could be passing through. Sunday starting to slide back down to the more seasonal temperatures, 26 degrees being normal for this time of year. Drier, sunnier conditions expected through much of next week.
Thank you, Terry. It's Friday, so that means I get to chat with Bo from Bounce 99.9. Good morning, Bo.
Hey, Ainsley, I love the red dress, but somebody's already reminded me today that 5 months from today, the man in red's big day, Christmas. No.
How dare you?
I know. Believe me, I'm not a Christmaholic, but it is 5 months today, and I can't believe it's the last weekend of July. And as always, enjoy it. There's a lot going on. I'm going to be at Winnipeg Beach for Boardwalk Days. That's always a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, do you karaoke?
Very much so. Strong advocate and proponent for karaoke. Of course. Any excuse to talk about karaoke, I will take it.
Okay, I try to get away from it, but once a year, every summer, we have a karaoke party at a neighbor's at the lake. It's coming up. I bring this up because a professor at Oxford University in England came up with a formula that included tempo and repetition and verses, and decided that on a scale of 100, at 91 points, the greatest karaoke song ever is Bon Jovi's Livin' on a Prayer.
Okay.
Tough one to sing. Yeah.
Well, no doubt. I take on the duet approach, and I won't say I'm competitive, but I get very into it with my partner, so much so that I get kid all the time because I'm like, you got to know your spot. Like with Islands in the Stream, you got to know your spot. And he jokes with me because he does an impression of me going, you do something to me that... You do something, because you got to know when to come in. Wait, you're going to make a fool of us?
Absolutely, that's even tougher. I've got a go-to song. It's called Wild Thing. I Think I Love You. Because you don't have to really sing. You can just sort of growl your way through. But for those of us that don't want to sing at all, the perfect song came up yesterday on Tequila Day. It's called Tequila. It's basically a 2-minute instrumental. And at the end, all you have to yell is, Tequila! There you go. That's my karaoke go-to.
Nice. All right, I'll get you on Islands in the Stream one day, Bo. Don't you worry. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Switching gears now. An Alberta hiking guide spent days on the trails of Banff National Park with one goal: find the elusive bison herd who live in the majestic mountain wilderness. So did he. CTV's Kevin Fleming shows us the inspiring journey.
He has a massive map of Banff National Park on his living room wall, and Jeff Douglas has kept track of every trail he's hiked by marking them in yellow and blue.
So mid-August to mid-September, I let my schedule as a guide be a little bit light, and if there's a 3-day or 4-day weather window, I have a very understanding wife and would see what I could accomplish during that time frame.
Douglas owns Mountain Goat Adventures and is a professional hiking guide. His wife supported his quest to hike all the trails and find the bison herd. She also made sure he was safe.
So usually at night and in the morning, Jeff will confirm via his InReach and the GPS device where he's at, if he's doing okay, if he needs anything, what his plan is for the day. So I always have an idea of the route he's taking as well, so I can track him along the way and make sure he's okay.
Parks Canada reintroduced 16 bison in the park in 2017. Since then, their numbers have grown to close to 135. They're monitored by staff who tries to make sure they stay within the park boundaries.
These bison certainly are wildlife, a lot like any other species in the park, and they're integrating into the landscape and improving the ecological integrity like we'd hoped.
This spring, on day 3 of his last 4-day hike, Douglas hit pay dirt and came across the bison.
I just sat down. I probably spent 45 minutes I didn't even pull out my phone or take my pack off. Just sat down on a rock and wanted to be present there. I've seen every animal in the park, and I don't know why, it was really majestic. It was a bit emotional. The whole project came full circle, and I had an absolutely spectacular day without a cloud in the sky.
Both he and his wife are proud of his achievement in covering over 2,000 kilometers of trails in the park and hope it inspires others to explore it. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Canmore.
Here's a live look at the Provencher Bridge. Traffic volumes look great. The sun is shining. We've got more news, weather, and traffic coming up. Good morning, Manitoba. Friday, July 25th. Can you believe we are this far into the summertime? A great idea is to go to Gimley, Manitoba. In a couple weeks, they have that Icelandic festival. But to preview that a little bit, we've headed to the New Iceland Heritage Museum. They're celebrating 150 years of New Iceland here in Manitoba, and the exhibition is pretty neat. So we'll have a look at that. First, here's a look at your headlines. Wildfire enters Leaf Rapids after jumping Churchill River. Fire crews forced to pull back as smoke and heat become too intense. Plus, 3 miners saved after being trapped for days. Rescue teams use drones and remote tools to reach them. And tiny navigation tool helps surgeons get it just right. Think GPS, but for hips, knees, and perfect alignment. Well,
hi.
We're not surgeons, but
I would never claim to be.
I'm like, speaking of that technology, Terry Apostle.
Listen, we're just here to entertain you, kick off your 100%. Morning on the right note. And what is that right note weather-wise? Well, it's going to be a hot day today. 16 degrees, south winds out of the south. They're 12 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 98%. See, I told you we'd be entertaining, if nothing else. All right, taking a look at northern Manitoba, you can see that the smoke warnings remain in place. The downgraded, but the advisory is still there through parts of northwestern Ontario. Many of us have no warnings in place at this time. It doesn't mean there's not a little bit of that haze out there. I can see it every time we show you our camera views. Not with the aroma that it sometimes has when it's on that heavier, really smoky side. So that's some good news that we have this morning, and it's fairly clear. Aside from that haze, not much to show you, which means plenty of sunshine to enjoy. We need the rain, though, and it looks like it'll be making an appearance starting in the northwestern part of Manitoba. Showers, maybe some thunderstorms tracking across into the east. We, too, have the possibility of seeing that activity developing for later on into the afternoon. But it's not just the afternoon, overnight and through tomorrow, and still continuing with that possibility of storms. When we get the kind of heat that we'll be feeling today and the humidity combined, well, it's basically a perfect recipe to get some storms rolling through. So we may see that again on Saturday, and then Sunday, possible showers still lingering to kind of wrap up your weekend. But things are looking a lot drier and sunnier. Mid-20s, 26 degrees is actually normal for this time of year. But for the weekend, expect things to be a little bit hotter than that, and then settling back to those more normal temps next week. And our art today is thanks to Khalil, age 11, and we appreciate you sharing this with us. I was saying I needed some art, and you came through, Khalil, so thank you. We want to see more of the art, so keep it coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. 3 miners have been rescued after being trapped underground for days at a remote mine in northern BC. All 3 were rescued last night at Red Chris Mine. Officials said that they're all safe, in good health, and in good spirits. They've been identified as Darian Madouk from BC, Kevin Coombs from Ontario, and Jesse Chabadi from Manitoba, all contractors from High Tech Drilling. The miners were underground since Tuesday morning when they were trapped by 2 rockfalls. The men had consistent access to food, water, and air in a refuge chamber. A remote-controlled scoop was used to dig away at the debris, and estimated to be 7 to 8 meters high. Drones flew over the debris blockage and found a stable route to where the men were. Red Chris Mine is operated by Newmont and is an open-pit gold and copper mine. Fire crews are battling a blaze that has now entered Leaf Rapids. The wildfire jumped the Churchill River on Wednesday and is now in the evacuated community of 300. The heat and smoke were so bad that firefighters had to back away temporarily. CTV's Jeff Keel reports.
Firefighters are trying to save Leaf Rapids from a wildfire that has now spread to the community as evacuees in Winnipeg desperately try to get up-to-date information on their town.
I was just having really bad anxiety, and my heart was just really scared because all of our family's house is there.
On Wednesday, the fire jumped the Churchill River, damaging 5 to 7 structures. One was a residence, the rest were abandoned. Some vehicles and hydro poles also burned. The power is still on. It happened so fast, firefighters had to retreat for an hour because of the scorching conditions before going back to continue the fight.
The fire's behavior yesterday was very, very intense. Crews talked about how the fire was essentially creating its own weather, and there was all this additional wind and heat.
They fought the fire through the night and are still there as we speak.
But there was confusion. The town initially posted the firefighters had left for good. That was corrected by the province Thursday morning.
To me, the province is what I feel like has done nothing but abandon us.
The miscommunication is frustrating for evacuees who've been staying in Winnipeg hotel rooms for a couple of weeks. Some rallied at Garbage Hill, calling for more supports and better communication.
Well, it's hard, especially worrying about everything at home. Not knowing if we're going to have anything to come back home to, and just how different the town looks already.
Leaf Rapids has been without a mayor and council for 6 years. The town's admin is appointed by the province, who is promising some information sessions.
I can't explain the discrepancy. As I said, we're going to work together with the town to make sure that the information is timely.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Provincial officials say that given the wind direction, they do expect another challenging day for crews at Leaf Rapids, but they do see rain in the forecast starting today. The hope is if that rain falls, that would stabilize the situation. An information session for Leaf Rapids residents was held on Thursday evening with representatives from the town, Red Cross, and Emergency Social Services. There are still 120 active fires burning in Manitoba. One is threatening Snow Lake. Hudbay announced it evacuated its mine near the town as a precaution. The Wildfire Service says that Snow Lake crews are ready if it gets closer. And the bright side is that the situation has improved for communities of Garden Hill and Thompson. Rain has helped the firefighting efforts there, and officials say that things have improved at Split Lake and Pasquiac Cree Nation to the point where evacuees could soon be allowed to go home. Now that 5 former World Junior hockey players have been found not guilty of sexual abuse, the focus turns to what happens next. Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Alex Formanton left the courthouse in London after being acquitted of sexual assault. McLeod was also found not guilty on the charge of being a party to the offense. Despite the verdicts, the NHL last night says all 5 players remain ineligible to play as the league previews the findings. The Crown is also reviewing the decision before deciding on an appeal.
The Crown's goal throughout this proceeding has been to see a fair trial. A trial that is fair to the men charged and one that is also fair to EM.
While delivering her decision, Justice Maria Karaoke said that she didn't find the evidence from the complainant known only as EM credible or reliable. The judge said EM exaggerated her level of intoxication on that night, and there were inconsistencies in her testimony. Advocates say that this trial could make sexual assault victims more reluctant about coming forward.
She was put on the stand and put through the ringer, and it was excruciating to watch and listen.
This is probably why I have this sign, because that is one courageous woman, one strong woman.
Hours after the verdicts came down, dozens of people were still outside the London courthouse to show their support for EM. EM's lawyer said that her client was very disappointed with the outcome. At least a dozen people have been killed in Thailand during clashes along the border with neighboring Cambodia. A Thai fighter jet also struck targets inside Cambodia in response to incoming artillery fire. A new study found alarming levels of forever chemicals in sampling of reusable menstrual pads and underwear. Reusable period products are growing in popularity among people looking for more eco-friendly options. But researchers stateside detected extremely high levels of PFA substances, also known as forever chemicals, which have been linked to serious health problems. The study analyzed a total of 59 products, including period underwear, reusable pads, and menstrual cups. Researchers did not identify manufacturers, but said that the majority of the products were made in the U.S. The study's authors suggest more comprehensive PFA exposure studies are needed to understand its impacts. The study was published in the Journal of Environmental Science and Technology Letters. Think of this like a GPS for surgeons.
If you have access to a ruler or to a level, why wouldn't you use it to put up a shelf? I mean, that's the logic that we use. IntelligJoint is a navigation system used by orthopedic surgeons for measurements. When it comes to this type of precise work, every degree or millimeter makes a difference in the outcome. The tech is Canadian-made from Kitchener. It's been used in more than 70,000 procedures around the world. And now it's finally being used at a home in Ontario. Waterloo Regional Health Network has started putting the machine in use. Here's our traffic camera at McPhillips Street at 7:09. Great volume so far to start your Friday. Joseph Bernacki joins us from Gimley, Manitoba. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Ainsley, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, we've had a great morning so far in Gimley. Of course, we're at the new Iceland Heritage Museum, and right now I'm actually just standing just in kind of the entrance to their temporary exhibit, Centennial Celebrations, New Iceland. So we're celebrating 150 years of history since the first Icelandic settlers came to this part of Manitoba, which is really cool. This is a temporary exhibit that opened in May. It's going to be running until April of next year, so a lot of opportunities to bring the family, bring the friends, come learn some great history in the area. Right now, Scott's showing some different clothing. The connections actually to Eaton's department store, which we're going to talk a little bit about later in the show. We're going to talk about the connections the Icelandic people had with the Indigenous people who are already living in this part of the province, of course. And of course, with Icelandic Festival coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend, hundreds of people from Iceland are going to be here for Icelandic trying to work on my pronunciation, of course, this morning. But nonetheless, we're going to be speaking with the curator of this exhibit for the next couple of segments on the show this morning, showcasing all this history and more. So keep your channel locked for CTV Morning Live.
Certainly will. Thank you, Joseph. Terry, I'm really... That sounded great.
I've had to practice that one many times over the years, so now I got it down pat.
Awesome. Awesome. This weekend, hopefully the weather warms up.
It will be warming up. You got your wish there, Ainsley. Absolutely. Some people might think it's warming up a little bit too much. The temperatures will be soaring over the next few days. And yes, it is going to be a little bit of a hot weekend ahead. 17 degrees with south winds, just 12 kilometers per hour right now. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 95%. That sun has come out from behind 360 Main, and I'm standing here just soaking up these rays, knowing that these temperatures this morning might be the best for some. Then I will recommend that these morning hours are your best chance to get outside and enjoy some of this gorgeous weather. A slight bit of a haze, but no warnings in place regarding that here in central or southern Manitoba. We do still have those smoke warnings in place throughout parts of the north. But there's also going to be some precipitation moving through parts of northern Manitoba. It's already starting up in northwestern Manitoba. Showers, possible thunderstorms moving from the northwest across into the eastern side of northern Manitoba. Later on today, we have a chance of seeing that here in the south as well, and not just into the afternoon, but still overnight and tomorrow. That risk of showers or thunderstorms will continue on. Welcoming the showers, it's the thunderstorms that we don't want, mostly the lightning strikes that we don't want. But still, we will take any kind of precipitation. Looks like it may even linger into Sunday, and then things looking a little bit drier on the other side of the hot weekend.
Weather brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful at 900 Lorimer Boulevard, featuring Hunter Douglas shades.
Bo from Bounce had the audacity to tell me that it's 5 months till Christmas today. Manitoba summer, it's just too short. We wanted to ask you guys, what's on your bucket list this summer, and what's one thing that has to be on it? Our question of the day, by the way, it's moved from Twitter, so we want you to text in your answer instead, 10400. Make sure you follow those automated instructions so we can feature your response. At CTV Morning Live, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, and whether they're furry, feathered, or even scaly, your Pet of the Week submissions have been amazing. We want to see more of them, please. So whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals, send them. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to petoftheweek@ctv.ca. Catch us every Thursday between 6 and 9 to find out if your pet is the Pet of the Week on CTV Morning Live. Guess what we have coming up? More news, weather, and of course traffic. See you soon. It's 7:16. Winnipeg police are concerned about the well-being of a 12-year-old girl who hasn't been seen in over a month. Kalida was last seen at 10:30 p.m. on June 8th in Winnipeg's Silver Heights neighborhood. She is described as 5'7" with a medium build, black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing a black hooded sweater, black sweatpants, and white Nike shoes. Police said more is known to frequent Brandon and Dauphin. Anyone with information on her location is asked to call the Winnipeg Police Missing Persons Unit at 204-986-6250 or Crime Stoppers. Good news for post-secondary students looking for help in paying their schooling. The province says that they no longer need to apply for a student aid loan in order to qualify for a federal grant. In a media release, an Advanced Education and Training Minister, Renee Cable, says that full-time students enrolled in 8 months of study for the 2025-26 school year may be eligible for up to $4,200 in Canada student grants. Previously, you needed to apply for a loan in order to qualify. More information can be found on Manitoba Student Aid's website. Saying peace is possible. France has announced it will recognize the Palestinian state. Emmanuel Macron says that he will formalize the decision at the United Nations General Assembly in September. The French president adds he hopes it will help bring peace to the region. France is the first major Western power to recognize a Palestinian state. It joins more than 140 other countries, including more than a dozen in Europe. We're learning more about the 2025 Grey Cup Festival in Winnipeg this fall. Organizers announced that the RBC Convention Center will serve as the official headquarters for the festivities between November 13th and 15th. There you can take in parties and entertainment each night, bring a new theme and headline act. Also announced at Princess Auto Stadium is a culinary event, Taste of the CFL. It brings together top chefs from each CFL city for a showdown in day game cuisine. You can sample dishes and drinks and vote for Canada's best stadium food. The convention center will also be home to the Grey Cup Gala.
Social passes go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. As I said, 50% are already sold, those 3-day passes, which is truly remarkable. 90% of the Grey Cup tickets are currently sold for the game on Sunday.
Festival right here in Winnipeg.
For information and tickets, visit greycupfestival.ca. Outside of your normal traffic barricades, there are no issues to report. This here is the Norwood Bridge. CTV Morning WPG on X. Here's your entertainment news. Comedian John Mulaney is giving a glimpse into what music he was listening to during a recent stop in Winnipeg. Mulaney was in Winnipeg on Saturday as part of the Great Outdoors Comedy Fest over the weekend, and he created a Spotify playlist titled In a Hotel in Winnipeg, which includes the description, "I put this together while I was in a hotel in Winnipeg." The post appeared on his Facebook page. The playlist includes 12 songs, including Borinka by Sinead Connor, Sinead Connor, thank you. Tour by the Courtneys, and The Boy by Smashing Pumpkins. You can find a link to his playlist on his website. This is a one-of-a-kind festival for Winnipeg. J-Fest showcases the very best in global Jewish art and culture. That's Israeli icon Pelesh. She'll be kicking off J-Fest at the Seven Oaks Performing Arts Center. J-Fest welcomes people of all faiths, backgrounds, and demographics. It's a full week of concerts, art, exhibits, workshops, and more. You can also take in some of the selections for this year's International Jewish Film Festival. J-Fest runs from November 1st through 9th. Visit the Rady Jewish Community Center website for more information. So much bigger than a TV show. People took to the New York City streets calling for Paramount to reverse its decision to cancel The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. The rally took place in front of the Ed Sullivan Theater. Demonstrators delivered 10 boxes filled with Save Colbert petitions. Start your weekend off right with Celebrity Jeopardy at 7. Then stick around for Fear Thy Neighbor and cap off the night with E-Talk at 10:30. It's all right here on CTV.
You were just entirely too young to know who Sinead O'Connor is, and that's okay. No, because nothing compares to youth.
That was
one person in this
all
studio.
the references. Can you see them going over my head?
It's all good. It's all good. Do you know what else is good? The sunshine outside this morning. Oh my goodness, I was just loving it up on the rooftop this morning. Here's a look now through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. It is stunning already, but it's going to get hot. And if you are not a fan of the heat, ditch whatever you're doing right now. Go outside and enjoy this. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter, that's the sound of Director Kim leaving the control room. Honestly, it is going to be a little bit too warm for a lot of folks over the next few days, with the temperatures really on the rise into the afternoon. But these morning hours, they're so very pleasant, starting out in the mid to high teens. And yes, that sunshine, oh, it is looking glorious out there. Then taking a look up into northern Manitoba, and also some mid to even some almost high teens. It's going to be warming up no matter where you are, but the relief will come with some passing precipitation. We are still dealing with some heavy smoke through parts of northern Manitoba. That is all of the purple that you're seeing there. The yellow is just a slightly downgraded advisory or statement regarding the air quality, but none of that through central or southern Manitoba and even the most northern part of the province. There's a little bit of that precipitation beginning to show up, some showers, possible thunderstorms, and that'll go across northern Manitoba, but we too have the possibility of seeing some of that. We're going to need that cool down from the rain, though. Take a look at where these temperatures are going to be topping out. So midday, and we're already into those high 20s, high teens, low 20s through northern Manitoba. We could be getting up into that 30-degree range or those high 20s for later on into the afternoon. Yes, it's going to be warm, and not just today, tomorrow too, and even Sunday, still slightly above seasonal. The possibility of scattered showers or maybe precipitation. Possible thunderstorms could be passing through as well. The fog up in Thompson made for an incredible photo here. Thanks to Nikki for this, and keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. A young Quebec girl is the ninja warrior world. She's dominating at almost every competition that she enters. CTV's Swida Rassi has that story.
2, 1, go!
She's fast, focused, and fearless. She's also just 9 years old. Justine B.C. Mouth's journey first started with her watching Ninja Warrior on TV with her family. Little did they know a future ninja champion was right under their roof. A few years ago, her grandparents took her to a ninja center.
The owner of the gym said, wow, she's very good.
So the family put her in classes and eventually enrolled her in competitions. Last month at the World Ninja League Championships in North Carolina, she went home with 11 medals and 2 trophies. Her prizes almost outweigh her.
Yeah, c'est lourd. C'est vraiment lourd.
Despite the obvious success, Justine B. remains humble.
Je suis pas la meilleure. Je pourrais m'améliorer.
She says she could still improve. Her parents are understandably very proud, even if they don't know where she got this talent from.
No, not me.
Justine B.'s trainer says it's her focus that makes her special. That, he says, is one of the most important skills for a ninja.
She's very strong for this type of ninja warrior things, which she can focus only on what she have to do, and she impressed more than some of the teenagers we got here in the MST.
Next month, the family is headed to Barbados for another competition. And whether she brings home more medals to add to her already impressive collection, her mom says the sport is mostly about having fun, staying active, and proving that anyone can succeed.
Also for the girls, that they know they can do the same thing of the boys, you know.
As for Justine B., she hopes one day she gets a chance to compete on the Ninja Warrior TV show, where she was first inspired.
Yes, yeah. J'aimerais vraiment ça.
And with her skills, the other ninjas better be ready. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
The new Iceland Heritage Museum is full of stories, history, and more. We've got some more at 7:28. Manitoba is filled with rich Icelandic history. If only there was a museum to talk about it. There is the new Icelandic Museum in Gimley, Manitoba. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Ainsley, and good morning, Winnipeg. At this time, very pleased to be joined by Ryan Aford. He's the curator of the Centennial Celebrations Iceland exhibit here at the museum, and he does a lot of work here at the museum. It's a pleasure to have you on our show.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, so for this segment, Ryan, we're talking a little bit about the history of the Icelandic settlers, their connection with the Indigenous people that were already living here. John Ramsey is the focus for this segment. Tell us a little bit about his legacy. Pretty interesting gentleman.
Yeah, John Ramsey was a Anishinaabe person. He was one of the people who lived in this area when the Icelanders first arrived, and this exhibit tells his story.
And what interests you the most about his story that you can share with our viewers, and that connection with the settlers who were coming here for the first time and discovering the area?
One of them, for one example, there was a young boy who lost his father in the smallpox epidemic in 1876. And Ramsey and his friend Joseph Monkman took this boy, whose name was Gester, and taught him how to fish in the lake. And that was really important for him to learn personally, and he shared that skill with other Icelanders.
Before we were live this morning, you were telling us about some of the hardships that the Icelandic settlers faced when they first came here. Can you speak a little bit more to, of course, you just mentioned, Yeah,
I mean, their first winter was very difficult. They didn't have enough food, and many of them suffered from scurvy, and some of them died of scurvy. And the second winter, they had smallpox, which some of them contracted on the way to New Iceland. And unfortunately, that spread to the Indigenous population, and Ramsey's family were among those that died in the epidemic.
We have a very interesting video playing. There's no sound at the moment, but William Prince, many of our viewers might be familiar with him from Peguis First Nation. Talk about the song that he made honoring his life.
Yeah, this exhibit here is our newest permanent exhibit, and it was created as a response to the calls to action for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Filmmaker Andy Blick partnered with William Prince to make this documentary film, where William creates a song about John Ramsey, telling his story.
That's pretty cool, and he's got a great voice certainly as well. Ryan's going to be joining us again at 7:42 here from the new Iceland Heritage Museum. We're going to be previewing the new temporary exhibit they have on, running until next year. You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Fascinating. Thank you very much, Joseph. Terry, outside, how's it feeling?
So gorgeous. Honestly, I want to spend all of my time out there. I'm kind of kind of annoyed by being in the studio right now. I'll be back up there in 20 minutes time, but I still have another 20 minutes to spend in here, and I'm itching to get back outside. Honestly, it is what a beautiful morning, really. 17 degrees, south winds 12 clicks. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 95%, and yeah, that's sunshine. Can't get enough of that. Northern Manitoba, unfortunately, still dealing with the smoke. So the area is really just through this most kind of north-central part of the province. The far north in the clear, central and southern Manitoba in the clear. With our winds remaining out of the south today, it should be a fairly decent day air quality-wise. It's going to be a hot day, though, and if you're not a fan of the heat, then these morning temps, you'll be right there with me being like, oh, get outside now. I can't get enough. We're not seeing much in the way of precipitation just yet. Parts of northern Manitoba, it may have already started for you, and will continue to track from the northwest into the northeastern part of the province. In fact, many places will perhaps see some precipitation today. That chance of showers or thunderstorms is there right across the entire province. It is going to be a warm one, though. We're headed up to a high of about 29 today, and that's why I say it might be too hot for some. A lot of people find anything past those mid-20s to be just a little bit too much. We will get a bit of a breeze today, and like I said, remaining out of the south. So the good news will be keeping that air on the cleaner side. That chance of showers or thunderstorms continues overnight. We're only falling to 20 degrees tonight, setting us up for another hot one again tomorrow, up to the 30-degree mark. Perhaps that chance of showers or thunderstorms once again, and even on Sunday, a possibility of some precipitation to continue. By the time we're looking further ahead into next week, drier conditions and those temperatures start to settle closer to what is normal for this time of year.
Thank you, Terry. Winnipeg police are promising to crack down on crime in Osborne Village. Police say that assaults in the village are up by 44% this year.
Got assaulted 20 times. I don't have the exact number, just by myself. I'm not including my employees. And it's not like I'm not making money into something. Like, it's good, business is good, but the problem is the crime. And I already think, like a couple months ago, if this thing will be continued, I will close my doors.
The owner of a pizza place on River in Osborne says that some people are so bold that they returned to his restaurant after being arrested to taunt him. The police service says that it's redoubling its presence in the village, and you can expect to see many more uniformed and plainclothes officers. They'll also be dropping into local businesses.
We have dedicated community support unit officers that work right out of West District, and when other units and officers are available, we will be supplementing those officers, and that's going to fluctuate from day to day. For example, we have 30-plus officers in here today. Tomorrow it might be 20 officers. The next day it might be 40 officers. It's really dependent on what else is going on throughout the city.
The program is scheduled to run until November, at which time police say they'll reassess. Police say reported incidents of violent crime in Osborne Village peaked in 2023, but since then has slightly come down. Yesterday's announcement just came hours before a community forum was scheduled to take place about safety in Osborne Village. Media wasn't invited inside, but CTV News heard from a number of people on their way in about how safe they feel.
I'm more optimistic. I've really never personally had a problem in this area, and I've always felt safe, but it's more so I am seeing the rise in it, and so I want it to I want to keep feeling safe in my community rather than worry about walking home at night.
To be fair, I think they've done a lot about cleaning up this corner here, with the police walking around and stuff like that. That's improved for sure. The closing of the Starbucks, and that's helped a bit too, but you can't close all the stores kind of deal, right? On the other hand, you walk into Shoppers and there's guards all over the place.
Police remind Osborne Village residents and business owners to remain vigilant, share tips and support efforts to stop violence. A couple and their dog have been found dead in their home in Maple Ridge, BC.
I went and looked out the window, and that flames were just going up the side of the house, up into the roof. The car was on fire.
Police were first called to the home for reports of a neighborhood dispute, but made no arrests. Hours later, Mounties arrived on scene to find 2 cars in the garage on fire. Inside the home, they found 2 people dead. The suspect, believed to be armed with a weapon inside the neighboring home, died from a self-inflicted injury. Police say this was a targeted incident with no ongoing threat to the public. BC Police Watchdog is now investigating. The U.S. Justice Department says that their interview with Ghislaine Maxwell on Thursday was very productive.
Ms. Maxwell answered every single question. She never stopped. She never invoked a privilege. She never declined to answer. She answered all the questions truthfully.
U.S. Deputy Attorney Todd Blonish met with Maxwell in Florida, questioning her about any information she has on Jeffrey Epstein. Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking after being convicted for helping Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges when he died in his prison cell in 2019. Blonish will continue his talks with Maxwell today. In the UK, a rare snow leopard cub has been born as part of a conservation effort to save the endangered species. The cub is the first of its kind to be born at the Chester Zoo in its 94-year history. Video from the zoo's den cameras show the 6-week-old and its mother playing and dozing off in the enclosure. The cub's parents were carefully matched together last year. It's a part of an international conservation breeding program. Taking a look at the current traffic situation along the St. James Bridge. Looks like a smooth drive. If you have any traffic tips, let us know. CTV Morning, WPG. Taking a look at your gas prices now. The Canadian average stands at $1.35. The provincial average is lower at $1.30. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.29. The lowest price in the city, $1.19. All this info available at gasbuddy.com.
Price at the Pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
It's currently 17 degrees right now. Beautiful start to your Friday morning. Stick with us for more.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
A beautiful start to your Friday morning. 17 degrees and plenty of sunshine. A bit of a breeze. It's out of the south. It's 12 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 95%. Mainly sunny conditions to kick us off this morning. Still the slightest bit of a haze, but for the most part, the air quality has improved greatly, and as a result, no warnings issued through the central and southern half of the map. We do still have those warnings through parts of northern Manitoba where that heavy smoke is likely to linger. We might get some relief today. Precipitation likely to be passing through. You can see the heavier clouds already through parts of northern Manitoba. We don't have anything like that yet, but nearly everybody will perhaps see some of that precipitation at some point today. So it's going to be starting in the northwest, which means later on into the day, parts of northeastern Manitoba have that chance of showers, maybe some thunderstorms today. High teens, low 20s, and for some, even getting up into those mid-20s with above seasonal temperatures on tap. As far as northwestern Manitoba goes, if the map wants to move, I'll tell you it's going to be warm there as well. So probably mid to high 20s across parts of northern Manitoba. These will be some above seasonal temperatures, and yes, that chance of showers or thunderstorms. In fact, it's going to begin there in northwestern Manitoba. And I would also like to show you parts of southern Manitoba and just how hot of a day it's going to be. Maybe. I mean, I know it's going to be a hot day. It's just maybe whether or not I'm going to be able to show you that. You know, it was doing this earlier this week here. You just have to overreact, apparently. So there you go. Those low 30s expected throughout the south, southeastern Manitoba, high 20s for us. That chance of showers or thunderstorms is more likely to be later on into the day. Northwestern Ontario may be a little bit drier, but still hot. Now, tonight, tomorrow, overnight into tomorrow, let's get there. Still with that chance of showers and thunderstorms, and even Sunday, the possibility of showers to continue. And then, yes, things are looking a little bit sunnier and drier throughout next week.
Thanks, Terry. The new Iceland Heritage Museum has a brand new exhibition. Joseph Bernacki joins us live from Gimley.
Thanks, Ainsley. Good morning, Manitoba. If you're just joining us, very pleased to be joined again by Ryan Aford. He's the curator here at the museum, and he does a lot of work setting up cool exhibits like this that we're standing in. Ryan, good to have you on again.
Great to be here.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about, for our viewers just tuning in, Centennial Celebrations New Iceland, this new temporary exhibit, what people can come see here.
Well, it is a big anniversary this year, the 150th, and we wanted to make a special exhibit for it. And so we were looking back at past anniversaries of New Iceland. What did people do? What did it mean? And we found that the 1975 anniversary was particularly special, and so we focused on that.
Scott's getting a chance to show us some of the cool posters and artwork here, of course, from Icelandingadagurinn. Talk to us a little bit about what it would have looked like 50 years ago.
Well, it was, for one thing, a great big family reunion, because people came from all over North America, and they came from Iceland. 1,400 people came to Gimley for Icelandic Festival or Icelandic Celebration in August of 1975.
And it's always been a big celebration. People look forward to it every year. Of course, there's the parade, there's music. I imagine it's going to be pretty exciting in about a week and a half's time.
Yeah, Gimley will be full of people, and there'll be a lot going on. And there was certainly a lot going on back in '75 with many, many events.
And there's going to be a celebration, you were telling me before this segment this morning, sometime in October as well?
Yeah, the actual anniversary is in October. October 21st is the date. Yeah.
Do you find it really interesting when we think about Manitoba's history? You know, Manitoba, of course, becomes a province in 1870, and just a few short years later, Gimley starts to become the settlement and the community that we know that it is today.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming to a place that they really didn't know anything about, and they had to learn how to live here. And that was something that people were reflecting on 100 years later. And so they produced all kinds of new histories. The museum itself that we're in, its origins go back to the 1970s when people were looking to commemorate that history.
Very cool. Well, Ryan's going to be joining us again in the 8 o'clock hour, at the top of the 8 o'clock hour, talking about the connection with the Eden's ownership and its Icelandic heritage as well. Stay tuned. We'll be back in about 20 minutes.
Thank you, Joseph. A true Manitoba hero. That's how a Brandon school resource officer is being described after his quick action stopped a horrifying attack. Last month, a student was brutally injured in what police describe as a racially motivated attack with a sword. Constable Mo Shilanoff has one of the first police officers on scene. And as CTV's Danton Unger reports, his actions were honored on Thursday.
An act of bravery that saved lives. On Thursday at Brandon City Hall, Premier Wab Kinew presented Constable Moshe Linoff and Brandon Police first responders with the Order of the Buffalo Hunt.
Out of a terrible tragedy comes an opportunity to highlight and salute some of the heroes who walk among us, including Moshe Linoff, Constable, who is here with us and is a true Manitoba hero.
Constable Linoff is the resource officer at Neelan High School, and he was there on June 10th during a horrific attack. Grade 10 student Chinonso Onuke was brutally injured after being stabbed and slashed multiple times with a large sword in what police describe as a racially motivated attack. Constable Linoff responded within minutes.
You didn't flinch, you didn't hesitate. You acted quickly, calmly, and with deep care. It's because of you that lives were protected and further tragedy was prevented.
Nuke is still healing from the attack that's left him with scars. Recovery is slow, but he's making progress.
I'm able to move all my fingers now.
Progress, he says, might not have been possible without the actions of Constable Linoff, who not only saved his life, but likely the lives of his classmates as well.
It's like things happen, and they were able to apprehend the guy before he could get to anyone else. So that was really good.
With Linoff's name officially added to the Order of the Buffalo Hunt, he joins the likes of Queen Elizabeth II, Mother Teresa, Burton Cummings, and most recently, the first responders at the Carberry bus crash tragedy. But for Linoff, he says he doesn't think of himself as a hero.
They say I'm a hero, but I think I just did my job. It's what I was trained, it's what I was hired for, it's what my job.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Brandon.
Hey there, Lindsay Hamilton inside the Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Thursday. And for this, we are heading to the CFL. It's the Stamps and Owls in Calgary. A little flea flicker trickery. Caleb Evans. Airs went out to Tyler Sneed, and look at this diving grab. 42-yard gain for Montreal. Evans, mainly used for short yardage plays, not this time around. That would lead to a Montreal field goal. Snazzy stuff. Love the flea flicker trickery. That right there, your must-see moment. Meanwhile, tonight on TSN, we've got Friday Night Football. The struggling Elks are taking on the Rough Riders. It all gets going 8 p.m. Central across the TSN network. That's all for now from the Sports Center newsroom. Enjoy the football and have a great day.
TSN Must-See Moments brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, your Hunter Douglas shade provider for over 40 years. CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Serenity now. See, it has nothing to do with the studio crew or any of my team working downstairs. When you have the option to be out here, or a clicker that's playing Jekyll and Hyde? What would you choose? Honestly, the sunshine this morning is just such a mood booster already. And yeah, the temperatures, they're pretty pleasant to kick things off. Although I'm already starting to feel the warmth of the sun. So if you like those cooler temps, you're going to be racing time because it's going to be warming up quickly throughout the day today. 17 right now with winds out of the south, 12 clicks. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 95%. And that sunshine is going to take these temperatures up several more degrees to an above seasonal day. High 20s and low 30s expected across southern Manitoba, and even mid-20s expected across much of northern Manitoba, or high 20s in the northwestern part of the province. There is the possibility of some showers or some thunderstorms, and it's not just through today, overnight and tomorrow as well. And in fact, even on Sunday, still some lingering precipitation is possible before things look a little drier next week. At Sport Manitoba today with Jeff Wood, who is the performance manager here. Jeff, Canada Games are coming up. This is pretty exciting for a lot of athletes. Yeah, sure. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing to prepare some of our athletes for the Games.
Yeah, lots of teams have been preparing for the last couple of months in here training, doing strength and conditioning, but we also have had some teams that have been here for, since last fall training in preparation for this. Lacrosse has been one of those teams that have been here pretty regularly over the last 9 months preparing for Canada Games.
Because that's just it. It's not like an immediate thing. These athletes, not just 9 months, most of them have been training probably for most of their lives. What does some of that training look like?
Well, for us, we kind of work on the basics. Like, let's teach people how to move well, be good athletes. Obviously, strength training is important, but we do speed, agility, quickness, power, those types of things as well, and conditioning. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So aside from just training specifically in their sport, they do need to keep in mind being an overall well-rounded athlete. Obviously, there's the physical side to that. Let's talk about some of the mental training as well that goes into this.
Yeah, some of the other things we do too, like from a nutrition perspective, teaching athletes how to eat the right way, meal timing, those types of things, but also how to deal with the menu at Canada Games and looking at when they compete and eating the right foods at the right time to give them fuel, to help them recover. And then sleep is a big piece of that as well. Right? Your body repairs itself when you sleep, so you need to make sure you get enough sleep. 8 to 10 hours for these athletes every night is really important.
That goes for everybody, by the way, not just athletes. We all need to sleep at night.
For sure. And then the mental side of it, we have mental performance coaches that we work with. 3 of them are going to Canada Games to work with our athletes. So they spend time prior to the games doing some prep work with them and their coaches. And then at the games, when things the heat gets going and people sometimes get stressed, having that person to talk to get them comfortable and back and focused again to be able to perform when it matters most for them.
So some of that mental side of things, you mentioned like having somebody to talk to. Is it like some visualization and things like that as well? What kind of goes into that?
Yeah, they do all of those things, like how to set goals, achievable goals that still are, just outside of their reach, so they can work on those. But how to visualize, how to reset when a bad play or something has happened like that, and get back into the game or competition and make sure that they're doing the right things, and they forget about the bad things and then focus on the next thing. And that's when a mental performance coach works with athletes, they focus on those types of things, but how to visualize the play, the different things that are going on within their competition, and how to kind of go through that and focus on those things while they're in the competition.
Yeah, and that can be a challenge sometimes, so I love that you've got somebody there to help kind of guide them along. When are the Canada Games coming up?
They start August 9th and run till around the 22nd or 23rd.
All right, excellent. So we'll be watching for some of our athletes and cheering them on. And by the way, some of these tips, they're working with elite level athletes, but these are things that you can incorporate right at those younger stages, right? All good things Absolutely. To keep in mind.
Yeah.
Thanks for having the chat, Jeff.
Sure.
This report is sponsored by Sport Manitoba, growing sport, wellness, and community.
A centennial celebration in Gimley. Our Joseph Bernacki is live at the new Iceland Heritage Museum. Stick with us. It's time for Let's Celebrate. Let's see who's having a celebration today. Happy 36th birthday to Stevie Ray. Love from Mom, Les, and family. Happy 91st birthday to Father Art from all of your friends at Camp Morton Church in Gimley area. Happy 29th birthday to Charlie with love from Cara with a K. Happy 10th birthday, Christian. Love Mom, Dad, and Brady Bear. Happy 50th birthday to Maureen. Love Mom, Doug, Chad, and the Fur Babies. Happy 19th birthday to Dylan. Love Mom, Daryl, and Berkeley. Happy birthday to Tina. Love Tara, Mason, Darren, Ryan, and the puppies. Happy birthday, Effie, from Coco and your aunts and uncles and cousins. Happy 6th birthday to Aubrey. Love Mom, Dad, and Blair. Happy 83rd birthday to Dad and Papa Jimmy from Doreen, Sora, Mia, and your whole family. If someone you care about is having a birthday, anniversary, retirement, or graduation, let's celebrate. To submit your celebration, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It will also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Let's Celebrate, brought to you by Party Stuff, 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca.
Good morning and happy Friday, Manitoba. It is World IVF Day. So many couples struggling with infertility. So we're going to be chatting with a fertility specialist about the technologies and the cost. Also, auto theft is on the rise in Manitoba, and MPI is going to weigh in with us on some of those numbers, how much it's actually costing us in this province. First, here's a look at your headlines. Northern wildfires. Some communities face new threats. In other areas, cautious optimism is growing. Successful rescue. We now know the names of 3 trapped miners, who they are and how they're safe among them. A Manitoban. And this 40-year musical journey takes metal fans on a wild ride. This time certainly goes beyond 11. Terry, yesterday I actually went flower picking in Rosenort.
Ooh.
At first I wasn't sure because I'm like, it was a little bit rainy still and wet, muddy, brought some good shoes, but nice. Pleasant. It really was.
Okay, what kind of flowers did you pick?
All kinds. I say is that everyone else had a theme. I'm like, this is just my brain, just a prairie bouquet. It was beautiful though.
Do you know what? Prairie bouquets are some of the prettiest. Yeah, this time of year we really do have a variety. All right, looking outside, the sunshine over the city, it is feeling good, but it's already starting to warm up. South winds are 12 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 95%. All right, here we go. The smoke, that's still a factor across the northern part of the province, not the very north, but kind of more of that north central stretch, and then more of central and southern Manitoba. All air warnings have been lifted. We do still have that statement or advisory, just a slightly downgraded version of the warning itself, and that's through parts of northwestern Ontario. Here we go. Okay, here we go. All right, so we do have those extra clouds across parts of northern Manitoba. The possibility of some precipitation. That'll be right across the province. It's just a matter of when and where. So beginning in the northwest and then tracking across into northeastern Manitoba a little bit later on today. I'll tell you, it's going to happen. I have another clicker here. So this one was the new one that I was using. Let's go back to the old one. Oh, look at that. It's working again. Okay, so here we go across northern Manitoba. Beginning in the northwest, tracking into the northeast, we too have the possibility of that precipitation showing up for later on today. Overnight through tomorrow, the risk is still there. The heat is still going to be cranked up for the next couple of days across, well, all of southern Manitoba, but even parts of northern Manitoba are going to be feeling that heat as well. Once we're starting to look into next week, that's when those temperatures are going to settle down just a little bit. I'm not settling down. Good thing it's Friday. Oh my goodness. My thumb is going to need a break after this. Okay, there's those mid-20 temperatures on the other side of the weekend. But yeah, for today and through the weekend itself, brace yourself for some heat and potentially some precipitation. Here's a look at some art today. Oh, art is good for the mental health, isn't it? Yes, thanks, Khalil, for this one. We appreciate your submissions, and we would love to see more of your art. So draw, color, paint for us, and send a picture of that to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. 3 miners have been rescued after being trapped underground for days at a remote mine in northern BC. All 3 were rescued last night at Red Chris Mine. Officials say that they're all safe, in good health, and in good spirits. They've been identified as Darian Maduke from BC, Kevin Coombs from Ontario, and Jesse Shabati from Manitoba. All are contractors for high-tech drilling. The miners were underground since Tuesday morning when they were trapped by 2 rockfalls. The men had consistent access to food, water, and air in the refuge chamber. A remote-controlled scoop was used to dig away at the debris, estimated to be 7 to 8 meters high. Drones flew over the debris blockade and found a stable route to where the men were. Red Chris Mine is operated by Newmont and is an open-pit gold and copper mine. Some dramatic video from northern Manitoba on Thursday.
Oh, this house is burning. Oh, my God.
Wildfire was entered into the town of Leaf Rapids and has damaged at least 1 home and some vacant buildings. After keeping the flames at bay for weeks, fire crews were forced to get out of town.
It really all happened quite quickly within the period of a couple of hours last evening.
Fire officials say that the fire intensified on Wednesday afternoon despite using helicopters and water bombers. Things just got too dangerous. Crews then were forced to retreat to safe zones, returning to the area once it was safe. The fire also damaged some hydro lines, but the power is still on for now. The Manitoba Wildfire Service said that the fire became unpredictable quickly. Meanwhile, there are still 120 active fires burning in Manitoba. One is threatening Snow Lake. Hudbay announced that it evacuated its mine near the town of Precaution. The Wildfire Service says that Snow Lake crews are ready if it gets closer. And on the bright side, the situation has improved for communities of Garden Hill and Thompson. Rain has helped the firefighting efforts there. Officials say things have improved at Split Lake and Opaskwayak Cree Nation to the point where evacuees could soon be allowed to go home. This metal band is hitting the stage once again, but they're on a quest to find a drummer.
You think you might fill the bill?
I don't want to die.
We've only lost 11 or 12? 11 drummers.
You guys had as...
The official trailer for Spinal Tap To The End Continues has been released. 41 years later, the mockumentary reunites director Rob Reiner with Christopher Guest, Michael McCain, and Harry Shearer. They're all reprising their roles as the heavy metal band Spinal Tap. The film features cameos from Paul McCartney, Elton John, Garth Brooks, and Questlove. It hits theaters on September 12th. The big question is, what comes after 11? Taking a look at our traffic camera here along Kenniston Boulevard. This stretch of the city, so far, so good. It's 8:06 in the morning.
CTV Morning Live Traffic brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
Joseph Bernacki joins us from the new Iceland Heritage Museum in Gimley. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Ainsley, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, if you're just joining us, we've had a great morning here so far. Ryan Afer joins us again from the museum. It's been a pleasure to have you on for the last couple of segments here on the show.
Great to be here.
Yeah, so this is really interesting, talking about the history of New Iceland, connections with Gimley. So many people in Winnipeg are familiar with our old Eaton's department store, sadly no longer around, but talk to us a little bit about the cool connection between Icelandic history and the store.
Yeah, in 1975, the store marketed products from Iceland for the anniversary. This blanket here was a wool blanket made in Iceland. See, Canada, Iceland, 1875 to 1975. They had a special Iceland shop in the downtown Eaton store.
And there's all kinds of things on display. Even that neat little charm that Scott's showing, pretty interesting, don't you think?
Yes, those are called magical staves. They are traditional symbols within folk belief in Iceland. Yeah.
So pretty interesting when we take a look at the history of the store. Talk to us a little bit about the connection between the family's ownership and Signe Eaton, what we have on the wall that we're just looking at here.
Yes, Signe Hildur Stephenson was born in the west end of Winnipeg, and her parents were from here near Gimley. And she married John David Eaton in 1933 and was the matriarch of the Eaton department store family.
We've been talking about family in this segment. Really interesting display as well to our left here. Talk about the connection you and Juliana helped contribute to this exhibit as our guests on the show. Talk to us a little bit about what's on this wall quickly here.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it was a big family reunion in 1975. People came from across North America, from Iceland as well, and there's pictures of our own families in this display here. Juliana, the executive director of the museum, is there in that photo. They're with her dad and two of her aunts. And then
a couple of your family members down below.
That's right. Yeah, my mom is there, and then my Ave, her grandfather, and a great aunt, and a cousin from Iceland. So all the artifacts in the exhibit are vast majority of them were donated by community members.
Ryan, we really appreciate your expertise and knowledge throughout the show this morning, and we're going to be back one more time at 8:38, chatting with Juliana again about Vikings, and we might even have some costumes for the show this morning, so stay tuned.
Thank you, Joseph. With cabinet ministers looking to find big savings in federal departments, museums and other federal institutions, a new report is estimating that will mean Canada will lose nearly 60,000 public service jobs. CTV's Josh Moreno has the details.
It's not information that you want to hear.
Impending cuts to the public service sector have Hannah Zahirovich feeling nervous about if she will have a job in the next 3 years.
People are going to have to make hard decisions, and that's just it. I don't know. It's hard. As a public servant, I'm like, no cuts. But as a taxpayer, I'm like, ooh, we can use some cuts.
Earlier this month, cabinet ministers were directed to develop a plan to find savings of up to 15% in federal departments. A new report from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives predicts that the National Capital Region will bear the brunt of the job cuts.
It would mean the loss of about 57,000 jobs. A little under half of those would be right here in Ottawa and Gatineau. As you look at each one of the individual departments, you can break down where their employment is and therefore figure out where they would probably lose employment if their staffing levels came down.
The report by David McDonald says the Canada Revenue Agency, Employment and Social Development Department, and Citizenship and Immigration will see the highest number of job losses.
There's a rough trade happening here. You're going to see decreased service levels, things like getting your taxes done, getting EI and old age security and Canada Pension Plan, in trade for bigger defense spending, as well as tax cuts for middle and upper income households.
In a statement from the Professional Institute of the Public Service of Canada, accuses the government using a backroom directive to find savings. The Liberal government is doing it without a budget, without a vote in Parliament, and without a shred of transparency or democratic accountability. No debate, no public input.
These have yet to be booked in a budget, so we don't actually know how much of this is going through, but this is the brief that got sent to ministers. You need to show me 15% cuts, show me a plan, and we'll decide later whether it's something we want to approve or not.
The size of the federal public service has already been cut by 9,800 jobs over the past year. As for Zahirovich, she says she hopes there will be more answers soon.
More clarity will definitely put me a little more at ease. Even if it's not information I want to hear, just knowing for it allows me to plan for it a little bit better.
Josh Moreno, CTV News.
All right, looking through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. So I would just like to point out that I've had years of therapy, and I feel like it shows now in how well I'm able to manage this stress in here this morning. I know I was like a little frustrated with my clicker, but then I grabbed my stress ball, and I'm like, oh, everything's going to be okay. And soon, in 10 minutes time, I'm going to head back up into the roof, and everything will be okay. All is right in the world, and it's Friday, and it's going to be a warm one. So look at this, 20 degrees. These temperatures, they are on the rise already. So 20, but it actually feels like 26 right now if you're going to factor in that humidity, the humidity that could potentially prompt some storms later on today. Slightly cooler over in Brandon, 16 degrees. Melita, you're already at 20, 22 in Dauphin. Northern Manitoba, some high teens or mid-teens. There is still a bit of that smoke lingering through much of northern Manitoba. So there you can see the warnings map is only northern Manitoba, central, southern Manitoba, and actually even the far north. Air quality is a little bit better, but right in that smoky zone, that's where the warnings have been issued. So as far as the precipitation goes, nearly everybody will see that, and it's going to begin in parts of northwestern Manitoba. Here's a look at how these temperatures will be rising through the day today, though. So yes, brace yourself for the heat. Here's midday, high 20s expected across the south, and high teens or low 20s across northern Manitoba. Then, yes, we could be reaching into those high 20s or low 30s even, and not just for today, we're going to do it tomorrow too. I got a hooray from Kim. Yes, I feel, let's all celebrate this one. We made it through the map. Woo! There you go. And next week, we're even going to make it past the heat. Oh, we're going to break. Woo! This is good news for everybody. Take a break, team. We'll be back here in a couple.
Good morning. Advances in AI may have you rethinking your career. As technology advances, some fields are poised to thrive, while others could be left behind. CTV's Jesse Thomas looked at how artificial intelligence is changing the way we work.
At the East Coast Bakery, bagels are flying off the shelves, but it's no robot making these.
Well, artificial intelligence, I mean, it's clearly going to take over a lot of creative aspects. I mean, maybe I can get it to do like my nutritional information or like help me streamline recipes. But as far as the actual labor goes, maybe until the Tesla robots show up, we're pretty safe, I think.
There's a human touch to every pastry and bun that hits the shelf, a craft no machine can replicate.
Everything we do here is like nice and manual. It's all homemade. It's all fresh, and you can't have a computer like replace that kind of love that goes into making a product like this.
Digital anthropologist Giles Crouch says the artificial intelligence debate is shifting from fear of technology replacing your job to how it can augment it.
Are you worried about your job, Giles?
No, not at all.
Crouch uses AI every day. It helps him work smarter.
But I never use it to actually write. I use it to help me think. And, you know, with anthropology, there's so much knowledge. And so I ask it questions and we have a conversation type of thing. That helps me create content and write.
Microsoft released a list of 40 jobs where AI is more transferable. Jobs like historians, writers, and authors, customer service reps, and broadcast announcers and DJs. Jobs that rely on language and writing and routine tasks. Things AI does well. And another list highlights jobs where AI isn't compatible. Jobs like nurses, long-haul truck drivers, roofers and laborers, maids and housekeepers, and massage therapists, which need human hands and presence. While AI technology has and will ultimately replace some jobs, Crouch says the sky isn't falling. We still need humans.
It's gone from this fear of massive job replacement to, okay, how can we actually get a benefit out of these tools? How will it augment my work and make it better?
Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
It's World IVF Day. A recent report shows that nearly half of Manitobans believe in considering family planning between the ages of 25 and 30. What does this mean? Fertility is top of mind. Here to chat about IVF's role in that, and fertility specialist, Dr. Stephanie Appleby. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Just to start us off, how common is infertility in Manitoba? Are these numbers rising?
Yeah, we have a lot more data than we have in the past. We keep in mind that IVF fertility treatments have only been around, under 45 years with that first IVF baby, Louise Brown. So we have more and more options for folks, and it does affect more people than I think most Manitobans realize. 1 in 6 Manitobans and people across the world are affected by infertility.
So when should people consider IVF or freezing their eggs?
That's a really personal decision. I think everyone's fertility journey is different. What we do know is that our biology begins to change around age 32. And that's a lot younger than I think most people realize. Unfortunately, 40 is not the new 30 when it comes to our eggs. And egg freezing can be offered to folks who have medical conditions, who are looking at gender-affirming care, who are looking at social reasons for freezing their eggs to delay fertility for a later date. And all of those considerations can be discussed if people are interested in finding more about their fertility. They can contact Heartland Fertility Clinic here in Manitoba.
So it really sounds like it's not a one-size-fits-all. Everybody is dealing with their own issues, I should say. It is expensive from what I hear. How much is it, and what's the process?
Yeah, that's the challenge that we've been facing here. We really believe fertility care is health care. This year, the government has expanded what we have in Manitoba as a fertility tax credit. So there's 40% of the total cost of any IVF or assisted reproductive therapy treatment cost that patients can get back. There are also some really great fundraising efforts, really passionate folks here in Manitoba. The Gift of Love and Hope is one of them, who are looking to support people through the use of bursary. So there's a lot of good expansion happening, and we just hope that it can be more. There are many treatments, though, that really don't require a cost on the patient's side. Heartland offers full-service IVF care. That includes investigations. Sometimes surgery is the answer for folks. Sometimes it's medication. All of those don't involve assisted reproductive technologies.
So it sounds like a process. So they come to you. What does that look like? Is part of it getting their bodies right as well?
Absolutely. There's any number of reasons why people may be facing fertility challenges. And the first step is to acknowledge that somebody may have questions about their fertility, to recognize that it's been too long or there's too much going on. There's something that doesn't feel right. If somebody's experiencing that, whether it's trying for 6 months or a year and they haven't had success, or there's something different about their biology and they want answers, people can contact Heartland Fertility on their own. By email or phone. They can have a referral from their primary care physician, at which point they'll be connected with a specialist who can do some investigations into what the cause may be. And depending on what that cause is, then they can be directed towards the appropriate therapy. And sometimes, as I say, that may be medication, that may be surgery, or that may be advanced reproductive technologies.
Dr. Stephanie, I'm sorry to cut you off. We're simply out of time. I wish I could pick your brain all morning. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate the chat. Terry, you've been looking forward to going upstairs.
I might not come back down, Ainsley. I may just spend the rest of the show up here. Who knows? It's beautiful. It's getting warm, though, honestly, already. So 17 degrees right now, south winds 12 kilometers per hour, the pressure falling, the humidity at 95%. I actually think it's 20 degrees right now. We might need to update that. It is going to be a warm one today with these temperatures already on the rise. And they're going to be hot all across southern Manitoba, but even up into the northwest, well above seasonal as well. Now, the relief might come today with the possibility of showers or maybe some thunderstorms. That chance is there for nearly everybody, and not just for today. Today, overnight, and into tomorrow, that possibility of showers or storms passing through at times. That'll come along with a whole lot of heat and some above seasonal temperatures. Still on Sunday, the chance of some passing precipitation. Again, we will welcome all of the rain, every drop that wants to land on us. Bring it on, Mother Nature. We're going to be needing it, especially after the heat that we're going to be feeling this weekend. In Thompson, the fog made for a very cool photo. Thanks to Nikki for sending this pic in. And keep the photos coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
There's new technology in Canada that allows people to get up and walk just 30 minutes after hip or knee surgery. CTV's Spencer Turcotte reports.
Our system is extremely robust and quite unique.
It's a groundbreaking innovation created by University of Waterloo alumni.
At IntelligJoint Surgical, we help orthopedic surgeons doing hip and knee replacements.
Armin McCurtsian co-founded the company in 2010, inspired by his father's work as an orthopedic surgeon. He saw gaps in care.
Of course, they're human. It's very difficult to measure degrees, single degrees, or single millimeters by eye, or using their training and their judgments.
So he created IntelligJoint, a sort of computer-assisted navigation system that improves surgical outcomes in hip and knee replacements.
Anywhere in the middle is good.
It uses a miniature optical camera to deliver real-time, precise measurements.
So at this point, then they would save.
It also reduces the need for invasive and costly repeat surgeries.
Patients don't have the wrong length of leg, for example, after surgery, which unfortunately does happen 50% of the time if technology is not used.
IntelligJoint's technology has been used in more than 70,000 surgeries in multiple countries over the last 15 years. But getting approval for use in Canada has taken time.
It's a difficult journey to be accepted by the Ontario healthcare system.
But recently, a big breakthrough.
We're very fortunate that our local hospital, Waterloo Regional, has access to IntelligJoint's technologies.
While access is limited across other health networks, they hope it'll continue to grow in the right direction. And their argument is simple.
If you have access to a ruler or to a level, why wouldn't you use it to put up a shelf? I mean, that's the logic that we use.
Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Kitchener.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Good morning. Every year, MPI sees 4,000 vehicles or more reported stolen. That's $40 million a year in damage and total replacement costs. The numbers are high and rising. Joining me now is Tara Steele, media and PR lead with MPI. Good morning, Tara.
Morning.
So, Manitoba, where do we rank nationally? These numbers seem very high.
Yeah, we are amongst the highest across the country for stolen vehicles. And as you said, you know, it's costing every Manitoban.
And you want to spread awareness. So what are some practical things that people can do to mitigate this?
Yeah, it's great that we're having this conversation because it is Vehicle Theft Prevention Month in July, so we're coming to the end of that. But there's a number of things people can do, and the first one is surprising. People are still leaving keys in their vehicle or leaving their vehicle running while they run into the store or back into the house really quickly, and that's just an easy target for thieves. Not saying that anyone deserves to be the victim of a crime, of course, but there are things we can do to protect ourselves, and making sure our keys aren't with our vehicle when we're not there is one of them. Another thing is park in a well-lit area, or even better, a secured or locked garage. That's a way to keep your vehicle safe overnight. Lock your doors and windows, and don't leave valuables in your car, because that is sort of an enticement, right? If a would-be thief sees something that they kind of want in the back seat, then that is an enticement. But one thing that we're seeing that's kind of new is that key fobs, the kind of keyless cars, so you keep your fob in your pocket. Thieves are being able now to track that signal and copy that signal and kind of create their own way into your vehicle. So always keep your keys on your person. When you're at home, try not to keep your keys right by the door, because that signal actually still goes outside. So you want to maybe keep them, if you're going to keep them by the door, in a box or something, and then if you could, like further into the home. So those are things that are happening, and MPI does have a special investigations unit that does work on vehicle theft and vehicle fraud, because of course theft does lead to that other very expensive thing that we see, which is fraud. So our special investigation team does work on those things, but every Manitoban can do something to help prevent vehicle theft.
When it comes to that awareness piece, what else do you want people to know?
Yeah, I think, it's always good to know where your vehicle kind of stands. Is it a really popular vehicle for being stolen? That's, fairly easy to check online. If it is a popular vehicle, you might want to take those extra steps, like making sure you have a working alarm system. There's a whole bunch of anti-theft products that you can buy for your vehicle. You want to make sure that you're taking steps to prevent that from happening. So whatever you can do, whether it's keeping an eye out on your street to see if there's any suspicious activity, anyone looking in vehicles, it takes a community. So if you do see something suspicious like that, reporting it to law enforcement can stop vehicles from being stolen in your community.
Any specific pieces of equipment that you'd recommend, whether it be GPS tracking or whatnot?
GPS tracking is great. A lot of people talk about Apple AirTags. Those can be removed, and thieves are very savvy to the fact that those are being placed in vehicles. So I would recommend doing your research. There are, security firms you can talk to for your type of vehicle. What would be the best recommended thing to help prevent your vehicle from being stolen? But prevention is always is always best.
That's why we're here. Tara, thank you so much for this chat.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Spending a little time with your plans, good for your mental health. Struggling with the clicker, not so much. So here I am on the rooftops, probably for the rest of the morning. Not mad about it, though. It is starting to warm up. It's 20 degrees right now, and it feels like 26. South winds, they're on the moderate to light side, just 12 kilometers per hour. Those south winds might increase slightly through the day, but we will welcome a south wind because that's going to help clear that air out. It was the north wind that was going to draw the smoke back in again. Where's my microphone? I found it. Pardon me. There it is. Checkity, check, check, check. Let me continue on and tell you the south winds are good news, and we're probably going to deal with them throughout the day, overnight, and tomorrow. But what else are we going to deal with? This possibility of showers or thunderstorms. Now, we welcome any kind of rain. I was just thinking about my plants. Do I water them or not? They still have a little bit of moisture from yesterday, but now it's going to get hot all weekend long. Sure, that chance of showers and thunderstorms is there, but we always know it could bring a lot, it could bring very little. So you might need to just kind of keep an eye on your plans. Here's a look through the rest of the week. Yes, the weekend itself will be above seasonal, 26 degrees. That's normal for this time of year. So we will be above that today, tomorrow, Sunday. And then once we're starting to look ahead to next week, those temperatures settling back to seasonal. We're also probably done with the precipitation after the weekend. Things are looking pretty dry and sunny throughout most of next week.
Thanks, Terry. The Manitoba But RCMP, is helping in search for a man who escaped custody of the Manitoba First Nations Police Service on Thursday night. 26-year-old Byron Roulette, who was arrested by MFNPS earlier on Thursday, was last seen at around 7:30 p.m. in the 500 block of 5th Street, southeast in Portage Prairie. Police said Roulette is handcuffed and has blood stains on his shoes and is wearing a gray-brown shorts. He's also believed to be shirtless. If you see Roulette, call police immediately and do not approach him. In a news release late Thursday, RCMP noted that there was a large police presence around 5th Street Southwest and Queens Avenue in Portage La Prairie as police search for the missing suspect. Portage La Prairie residents are asked to be out on the lookout and report any suspicious activity. Anyone with information on Roulette's location is asked to call 911, the RCMP at 204-857-4445 or the MFNPS at 204-843-7700. An RCMP officer was shot and injured in Saskatchewan yesterday morning, triggering a public safety alert in the early morning.
We do take that incredibly seriously, but we have to balance the safety of the public with that intrusion.
The officer was responding to a report of an armed suspect at a home in First Nation community, about 150 kilometers northeast of Regina. After the officer was shot, the suspect fled the scene and the safety alert was sent out. He was arrested later on in the morning. Charges have not been laid yet. The officer was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Demonstrators turned up outside the courthouse in London last night in a show of support for victims of sexual assault.
We are proud of EM because she has shed light on issues that need our attention. She has fostered a nationwide conversation about sexual violence.
The demonstration came after Dylan Dubé, Carter Hart, Alex Formanton, Calfoot, and Michael McLeod were found not guilty of sexual assault. McLeod was also acquitted on the charge of party to the offense. The Crown has 30 days to decide on an appeal. All 5 players remain ineligible to play in the NHL. The league reviews the decision. The Players Association says that the players should be given the opportunity to return to work. He was large and loud and made a career of being the beefiest and boldest wrestler in the WWE. Terry Jean Bollea, best known as Hulk Hogan, has died on Thursday of a cardiac arrest at the age of 71. He leaves legions of fans who adored him for decades and followed him from the wrestling ring to the political arena, despite the controversies. Here's CTV's Jean-Vian Boschman.
Hogan's legacy is tied to wrestling, of course, but ever the performer. He also took his trademark horseshoe mustache and bandanas to the music world and to TV and movie screens.
The ultimate male versus the ultimate meatball.
Including in Rocky III, that propelled him to stardom. Hogan was born Terry Jean Bollea in Georgia. He began wrestling at age 16, vowing to match the inhuman physique of his heroes. And he did, even eventually earning his stage name. As fellow wrestlers commented, he was bigger than Lou Ferrigno, who played Hulk on TV.
Look at
this! He then slammed his way to the very top of worldwide wrestling stardom. At his peak, defeating Andre the Giant with a body slam. That earned him fans around the globe.
He got people here, where it counted, in their hearts.
In 1997, Jacques Rougeau became the only Canadian to defeat Hogan in the ring in Montreal.
He signed it in my name. He says, "You're the only one who beat me in Canada." He says, "You deserve this belt."
Rivals in the ring, Hogan and Rougeau built a friendship in the real world.
The greatest of all times, Hulk Hogan. And I love you, Hulk. We're going to miss you.
Hogan was admired by many, but faced several controversies. In 1994, he was forced to admit in court to years of steroid use and later to apologize for a racist rant caught on video.
Yo, go, Skipper.
He also won a lawsuit against a website that leaked a sex tape of Hogan and a married woman. In later years, he became a vocal supporter of U.S. President Donald Trump.
Make America great again!
Endorsing him at the Republican National Convention. Hulk Hogan, a wrestling ring and pop culture superstar through it all. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
This is the traffic situation at Notre Dame Avenue. No delays to spot at this time. Taking a look at your gas prices, the Canadian average stands at $1.35, while the provincial average is lower at $1.30. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.29. Lowest price in the city, $1.19. All this info at gasbuddy.com.
Price at the Pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and attach your seat for value of your car.
Checking in now with your question of the day. We're making a Manitoba summer bucket list, and we wanted to ask you guys what's one thing that's going to be on yours. Craig said for me, it's fishing for pickerel and having a fish fry. Ooh, yum. Marlene says to go to Kenora, my girlfriend Falcon Lake time, the beach. Thank you guys so much for your responses. Joseph Bernacki joins me now from Gimley, and he's dressed like a Viking.
Yes, thank you, Ainsley. You know, I'm ready for my Minnesota Vikings mascot tryout this morning. We've been having a great time. It's a pleasure to have Juliana Roberts on our show again today. She's the executive director here at the new Iceland Heritage Museum. Thanks for being a gracious host this morning.
You're welcome. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, this is a fan favorite part of the museum for people to come and check out. Talk to us a little bit about where we're standing right now and what parents and families and kids can do here.
Most certainly. So we always joke that as people walk through the museum, it's really quiet, and then we know when they hit this part because we hear the axes hitting the shields and lots of laughters and lots of pictures being taken, and we always encourage people to tag us on social media, but this is the fun part. There's a little house here that we have for the kids that they can go in and color and do some activities, and this is kind of like the finale before you head off and go around the corner to the temporary exhibit.
And we were having a laugh this morning, of course, talking about the history of Viking helmets. They didn't actually have horns like the ones on my helmet that I'm wearing right now. Talk to us a little bit about what you're holding in your hand.
Most certainly, it's the age-old conversation or argument whether they had horns or not. Traditionally, they didn't have horns because the horns would have gotten in the way when they were in battle. So there was an opera that was made in the 1800s where they put horns on the helmets, and so it's kind of romanticized. And as one archaeologist said, how would we know that they were Vikings if they didn't have horns?
For people just tuning in this morning, Juliana, why is this a great place to come and enjoy a little bit of Icelandic history, ahead of Icelandic Fest about a week and a half from now, if people have never been here before?
You know what? We're open 7 days a week, 10 to 4. We have a secondary location over at the Lake Winnipeg Visitor Center, which is at the base of the pier, number 1 Center Street. It talks about the health of Lake Winnipeg. We have a great big aquarium. We also have this temporary exhibit is only here for 1 year, so we encourage people to come in and check it out. It is, we want to mention that it was designed by Aniko Zabo from Winnipeg, who does lots of exhibit design with Mennonite Heritage Village. But we are the place to come and learn about the history of the area, and of course visit our great gift shop, and we'll tell you. We also know all the attractions and all the events that are going on locally.
Pretty exciting. Well, if you're going to be coming to Icelandic Festival, not this weekend, but next weekend, definitely head down to the new Iceland Heritage Center. Such a great, cool museum. You can dress up, you can be a Viking, have some fun, and learn a little bit about some pretty cool history here in Manitoba. So we'll have more information on the link on our website.
Awesome. Thank you, Joseph. It's shaping up to be a really nice day, Terry.
Yes.
It looks like you're watering.
It's a warm day. So I decided, because I was hemming and hawing, I know it might rain today, and they weren't dry because I just watered them yesterday. So I'm only giving them half of the amount. I thought I'd find a nice little happy medium. Sure, we have that chance of precipitation, but with the temperatures that are already feeling pretty hot out here, I don't know, maybe a gardener will reach out to me and be like, it's better to let them dry out than to overwater, and if that's the case, please let me know. I just thought we would go like a little half and half in between. Anyway, the temperature at 20 is feeling like 26 with that humidity factored in. Is going to be a warm one today. There's going to be a bit of a breeze, but it'll stay out of the south, so that's good news for air quality. Pressure falling into humidity right now sitting at 85%. No warnings issued regarding that smoke through central and southern Manitoba, and even the most northern part of the province in the clear, but there is that band kind of through the Lynn Lake, Flin Flon, Leaf Rapids area, Thompson, right around that stretch, that kind of north central stretch where the smoke is still an issue. Now, with these winds out of the south will likely remain on the clearer side through the weekend, but it's going to stay hot. And that chance of showers or thunderstorms, well, that's there all weekend long as well. Next couple of days, it has more of a chance of thunderstorms tucked into that activity, whereas by Sunday, just some passing showers. And again, we will welcome all of that rain, especially with the kind of heat that we're going to be feeling. It should settle down with the temperatures by the time we're looking on the other side of the weekend, but the next few days will likely be and remain above seasonal. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
It's 8:45. Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc is in Washington meeting up with top Trump trade officials. His time is running out to make a deal before next week's deadline. Here's CTV's Abigail Beeman.
After a series of D.C. meetings, including with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, Dominic LeBlanc says he'll be back next week, still working towards August 1st.
But all of these deadlines are with the understanding that we'll take the time necessary to get the best deal.
This Republican senator is less optimistic about the timing.
I wish that I could say it feels good that this is all going to be taken care of before the 1st of August, but I'm not sensing that.
Still, Canada stresses there's movement. Our ambassador pointing to the Prime Minister's announcement targeting cheap foreign steel.
That has been recognized and very much appreciated. So we're making some positive progress.
They say they're hurt and they were insulted, and it's kind of like, well, it's not a whole lot of people or countries that we've asked to become the 51st state that I can remember.
Meanwhile, we're hearing more from American Ambassador Pete Hoekstra. CTV News obtained the full video from the summit where he said this.
Well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with.
The chat's moderator wasn't surprised that drew headlines.
As we've seen before, sometimes when the ambassador is reflecting a president whose comments have not been well received in Canada, they become kind of the lightning rod.
Hoekstra also weighed in on the trade deal deadline.
Whether it's August 1, I don't see it extending a lot past that. I'd be surprised if we were still talking about it on September 1.
Ambassador Hoekstra also said he's optimistic about the future, but there need to be more advocates for the Canada-U.S. relationship. From his position, 90 days into the job, he says there aren't any.
Already almost halfway through summer, where does the time go? So we're going to up the fun and lower the stress, all thanks to some tips shared by Andriana Gonco, host of The Juggle is Real. Andriana, welcome. Good to see you again.
Hello, it's so nice to see you. It's so great to be in this beautiful summer season. And at this point in the summer, I know how fast it can go from fun to frantic. But I do have some very good news because there is a simple way to stay one step ahead without as much stress. And so I have a very exciting announcement because two of our favorite Canadian brands are teaming up to make summer even more convenient. So here is the news. Dollarama is now available on the Skip app, so you can browse thousands of products on your phone and get affordable essentials delivered right to your door. And that's why I'm here with the Midsummer Refresh, because we want to make life easier, whether you're at home or you're packing up for a trip, or I don't know if I should say it, but heading into school mode. Oh, you can now shop from over 1,300 Dollarama locations across Canada. You're going to get all the things you need, maybe some of the things you didn't know you needed, because the fun is in the find.
All right, so let's take it first to maybe the backyard and those, impromptu hangouts.
That's right. We want to be spontaneous in the summer with the picnics and the barbecues. And when the sun comes out and the smoke clears, you want to be outside. So if someone pops in, you want to be prepared. And just in case you don't have the things you need, you can order from Dollarama on Skip, whether it's the paper plates or the cutlery. You want napkins, all of those good things. I found some great melamine bowls. I found these really nice elevated reusable plates. Also comes with a nice serving tray that I have as well. All with a few clicks of the button, and it's coming directly to my door, which is so great.
I love that. I also love the reusable plates that we can still take to the backyard without that fear of, ruining them, but without the extra waste. So great tip there. Okay, let's talk about staying cool and hydrated.
Yes, exactly. So, in the summer you're on the go. And for me, I've got 3 boys. We are going from the splash pad to the baseball diamond and swimming lessons to the soccer field. So we want those hydration essentials and those helpers that are going to keep us great in the summer. We somehow always are looking for more water bottles. This one has a freezer stick inside, which is great. And a few things behind me, from the sunscreen to the aloe vera, the beverages, the sanitizers. Again, 3 boys, I need the wipes with me at all times. Throw those in a tote bag. And again, no matter where you go, you can get that delivered right to your door through Skip, which is so, so great.
I love that. How about road trips that we might be taking?
Yes. And it's so fun once you get there, but you have to get there, right? And so keeping kids busy in the car, keeping them occupied and happy is one of the great challenges of my life sometimes. So I always have the car kit ready to go. It's filled with coloring books and crayons, of course, your sanitizers. You can never have enough snacks. That is my motto. And I found this really great modeling clay. Not a huge fan of the slime, especially in the car. This one's going to keep them busy. And whether you are packing up to go and you realize you forgot a few items, or you're already in the car, you can order from your phone to Dollarama on Skip, and it's going to arrive at your destination because there's over 1,300 locations across Canada, which is so awesome.
And it does make it so easy because so many of us already have Skip on our phone, so it's not even downloading an extra app.
Exactly, that's right. So the easiest place is to start on your phone. You can get Dollarama on Skip, keep family life smooth without the scramble, and you can shop all across Canada, which is so wonderful, whether you're looking for the barbecue supplies or the must-haves on the road trip, the boredom busters, or even the back-to-school essentials. It's going to make everything so easy when you're getting into your routine, and that means you're going to spend less time worrying and more time enjoying and soaking up the season.
That's exactly what we wanted to hear. Thank you so much, Andriana.
Thank you.
All right, it's 20 degrees outside, feels like 26. We've got winds out of the south on the lighter side, though. Just 12 kilometers per hour. They might get up to about a 20K wind, but still out of the south throughout the day. Pressure falling and the humidity sitting at 85%, and that direction of the wind matters when it comes to the air quality. We do still have that heavier smoke across parts of northern Manitoba, central and southern Manitoba. That's where things are a little bit clearer, and actually right across the most northern part of the province as well. You were right, Ainsley. She picked the left hand. That's what we're going with now, and it worked. Okay, here's a look at the satellite image. Not much happening here. We do have the possibility of showers or thunderstorms for later on today, and not just here in Winnipeg. Much of southern Manitoba, central Manitoba, and northern Manitoba, the areas needing it the most. Well, we all need some of that rain, and it looks like we may get our chance of seeing some. What we don't need is the lightning strikes, but we don't ever get to choose. If we did, it wouldn't be so dry, and for some, it wouldn't be so hot. But it's going to be hot for the next few days. You can see these above seasonal temperatures lasting through the weekend, with the potential for storms over the next couple of days, and then some more shower activity to wrap up the weekend Sunday. Temperatures will be settling down once we look on the other side of that. 26 degrees, that's normal for this time of year. It's Friday. We're taking a break. We're going to come back and wrap up the show. Join us here in a couple of minutes for more CTV Morning Live.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center.
Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Friday. Can you pat your head and rub your belly at the same time? This dad's trying to get his kid to do one simple thing. Before sunscreen.
You're
Watch.
patting them both.
Darn it.
Close your mouth. No, close your mouth. Close your mouth. Close it. Close it.
Close it.
Close your mouth. Close it like this. And now close your eyes too. Now close your mouth. you have to close.
Oh, he's like me. I two things at once just simply cannot. This kiddo just can't figure it out. Sometimes making new friends can be scary, especially if they're bigger than you.
He does not like the cows. Oh my God.
Oh, this little guy, his name is Bambi. Terrified of the big cows, so holding on to for dear life.
You know, I mean, we look at cows and we think that they're big. Could you imagine being knee-high and looking at cows? Like that truly must be terrifying.
And we know that they're friendly. They might not. Well, it's Friday.
It's Friday.
Ice cream, cows. See you Monday.